Welcome back to part 4 of What If Sasuke Killed Sakura After They Sealed Kaguya. Make sure to like and subscribe as it motivates me to make more videos in the future, and as always the link to the fanfiction is in the description. Hokage Tower. While Naruto was teleporting around the village to prepare for his mission, Kakashi was still in with office with his two teammates and two Uchiha. Currently Obito was sulking in a chair across from Kakashi, while Rin was trying to soothe him. "I still can't believe that you, Hokage," Obito said as anime tears fell from his eyes. "Why did Naruto have to bring me back to life?" Kakashi's sweat dropped as he watched his friend whining like a child. Wow, he really changed in a short amount of time. It's like he's back to his old self. "Obito, what happened to you? It seems like you're back to your old self," Kakashi asked, causing Obito to perk up. Obito smiled and pulled Rin onto his lap. "It's all thanks to this beautiful woman," Obito said as he kissed Rin on the cheek, causing her to blush. "Once I was reunited with her, I was happy beyond belief, especially when she told me that she loved me." Rin playfully smacked Obito's arm as her face burned red. "Obito-kun, be quiet, you're embarrassing me." "What, I can't brag about my beautiful girlfriend," Obito said with a grin. Kakashi watched his two teammates with an eye smile. They reminded him of Naruto and Sakura, but watching them also made Kakashi realize he didn't have a special woman in his life. "Kami, I need to get a girlfriend," Kakashi thought as he sighed and stood up. He walked over to his teammates who were still arguing, but neither of them seemed angry. Again, this reminded him Naruto and Sakura. How they always used to argue over stupid little things like an old married couple. But they were never really mad at each other, and they'd make up a few minutes later. "Obito, you know this puts me in a precarious situation," Kakashi said as he stood in front of his teammates. "Huh, what do you mean?" Obito asked as he let Rin out of his lap. "Well, the other villages aren't exactly going to take you being alive very well," Kakashi said as he pinched the bridge of his nose. He could already hear the Raikage and the Tsuchikage yelling at him. He knew Gaara and the Mizukage would be more understanding, but the other two were stubborn bastards and would be hard to convince. "So what do you suggest we do, Kakashi-kun?" Rin said with a worried look on her face. "Well, I'm sorry to say this, but there's no way we can let you be a shinobi again, Obito. I'll have to seal off your chakra, so you won't be able to use any jutsus or use your Sharingan," Kakashi said, making Obito's head drop. Then Kakashi turned to face Rin. "Rin, if you want to, I can re-enlist you into our forces, or I can find you a position in the hospital. I don't think I want to be a shinobi anymore. I want to be able to spend time with Obito-kun. So I'll take a job at the hospital," Rin said with a smile. "Okay, I'll inform Tsunade-sama, and have her find you a position. You also may want her to give you a quick refresher, because medical ninjutsu has advanced greatly since you've been gone," Kakashi said, trying to shy away the subject of Rin dying. "Arigato, Kakashi-kun, but do you think sealing his chakra away will be enough to help Obito?" Rin asked as she shot a glance at Obito. His eyes were on the floor, and it looked as if he were thinking about something. "I don't know, but it most likely won't be. But I believe Naruto will convince the other village leaders. That boy has an amazing way with words sometimes, and he can sway even the most stubborn man to his side," Kakashi said, making Rin perk up. "I'd love to meet this Naruto. Obito has told me so much about him, and he sounds like an amazing person," Rin said, wanting to find out who Naruto was. "Yes, he is truly remarkable. He's Minato-sensei's son, you know," Kakashi said, making Rin's eyes widen. "Kushina-sama was pregnant," Rin exclaimed. "Yes, Naruto's so much like her it's uncanny. One of his girlfriends is also eerily similar to Kushina-sama," Kakashi replied, making Rin's eyes narrow. "What do you mean, one of his girlfriends?" Rin asked, her voice a dangerous tone. "Well, you see, Naruto is the last Namikaze and the last male Uzumaki. So when Tsunade-sama was Hokage, she put Naruto in the Clan Restoration Act. This allows Naruto to take on multiple wives to help restore his family," Kakashi explained, causing Rin to relax slightly. "Okay, I guess that's all right, but he better treat those girls right. Don't worry, Naruto would never dream of upsetting one of his precious people. So you don't have to worry about him mistreating one of his girls," Kakashi said with a smile. Then Kakashi turned his gaze back to Obito. "Obito, are you alright? How are you taking this?" Kakashi asked as he put his hand on his friend's shoulder. Yeah, I'm fine," It just sucks that I can't be shinobi anymore. I have no doubts that Naruto will be able to convince the other leaders. But long as I have Rin by my side, I don't care if I'm not a shinobi. Obito said as he smiled at Rin. Ah, Obito-kun. Rin said as she leaned over and gave Obito a quick kiss. You may not be able to be a shinobi, but I think I have an offer that may entice you. Kakashi said as he turned to Itachi and Shisui. Itachi and Shisui, this offer is for you two as well. I was planning on restarting Konoha's police force, and I was thinking you three could set everything up. Kakashi said, getting all three Uchihas' attention. That is a very tempting offer, Kakashi, Shisui said as he turned to Itachi. So what do you think? Like you said, it's a very tempting offer. The Uchiha used to run the police force until the massacre, Itachi said as he cupped his chin and closed his eyes. I think it would be very beneficial to restart the police force. It would free up Anbu and Shinobi from having to stop crimes. Hearing this, Kakashi turned back to Obito. If you do this, I may be able to allow you to access a small amount of your chakra after a while. I'd still have to clear it with the other villages, but I believe if you behave yourself and prove your innocence, they'll allow you to access some of your chakra after a probationary period. Kakashi said, making Obito's eyes widen. I think you should do it, Obito-kun. It will give something useful to do, and you'll still be an asset to the village. Rin said, wanting to cheer Obito up. So you three, will you do it? Kakashi asked the three Uchiha. All three of them looked at each other and nodded. I'm in, Itachi said as he stepped forward. If he's in, then I'm in, Shisui said as he too stepped forward. Kakashi smiled under his mask, then turned to look at Obito. Ah, what the hell, I'm in. Obito said. He stood up from his seat. Well then, congratulations, you three are the first police officers in Konoha's new police force. I'll have the plans for the building drawn up soon. You three will overlook the project every step of the way. Any changes you want to make, tell me, and we'll make them, Kakashi said, making the three Uchiha smile. If you three want, you can move back into the Uchiha district of the village. All three Uchiha looked at each other and nodded again. Great, since that's settled, why don't we all go get something to eat? I'll pay. Kakashi said, making Obito smirk. Ha, you pay, I'll believe it when I see it. Obito said as he offered Rin his hand. Rin smiled and took Obito's hand as they walked out of the room and into the hallway. Itachi and Shisui turned to follow Obito and Rin, but Shisui was stopped before he walked out the door. He turned to see Kakashi's hand on his shoulder. What can I do for you, Kakashi? Shisui asked in a confused tone. I have one mission for you before you join the police force. Kakashi said in his Hokage voice. Sure, anything, Hokage-sama, Shisui said as he closed the door. I just assigned Naruto and his girls a mission to travel to each of the shinobi villages. All of the girls are pregnant, and I want you and a few other shinobi to go along just to be safe. The mission should at most take 4 months, so their pregnancies shouldn't really affect their shinobi abilities. But I want to be extra careful, Kakashi said as he handed Shisui a manila envelope with the mission details in it. Shisui looked over the mission details and nodded. Okay, Hokage-sama, I agree, Shisui said, making Kakashi smile. Good, now let's go get something to eat. You can tell Itachi after lunch, Kakashi said as he opened the door, letting Shisui walk past him. Just before Kakashi started walking to catch up with everyone else, he was stopped when he heard someone speak to him. Hello, Kakashi-kun. Kakashi turned around to see Shizune standing behind him. Oh, hello Shizune, what can I do for you? Kakashi asked as he smiled at Shizune. Oh, nothing, I was just wondering if you wanted to do something with me. Shizune asked as her face turned red. I'm sorry, I can't right now. I'm going out to lunch with a couple friends, Kakashi said, making Shizune's head drop. But you're welcome to join us. Then maybe later on tonight you and me can go out to dinner. Shizune's head shot up and a happy smile spread across her face. Really? Yeah, come on, Kakashi said as he started walking down the hall. Shizune quickly ran after Kakashi. When she caught up to him, she held onto his arm as they walked to the restaurant. 4 hours later, the sun was starting to set as sat Naruto in his apartment. All his girls were getting in some last-minute training to prepare for their mission before they all went out to dinner together. As Naruto sat on his couch, he closed his eyes and concentrated. A moment later he was inside his mind, standing in front of a sleeping Kurama. Oi! Get the hell up, you lazy fox! Naruto yelled as he nudged Kurama's paw with his foot. What do you want, Gaki? Kurama asked without opening his eyes. I want you to contact the other Biju, except for Gyuki. I need to speak with them about something. Fine, whatever. Kurama said with a grunt as he contacted the other Biju. Suddenly the other 7 Biju appeared in a circle around Naruto. You called us here, Naruto-kun. Matabi purred out. Yeah, Gaki, why did you summon us? Shukaku asked as he crossed his arms. Well, I have something important I need to tell you guys, Naruto said as he made sure all the Biju were paying attention. I brought all your previous Jinchuriki back to live. All the Biju, except for Kurama, went wide-eyed when they heard this. And I wanted to know if you guys possibly wanted to be sealed back inside your Jinchuriki. Several of the Biju, mainly Isobu, Son Goku, and Kokuo narrowed their eyes when they heard this. Why would we want to do that? Isobu said in slightly angered tone. I thought that maybe you guys could have a relationship with your Jinchuriki like me and Kurama have. I mean, Kurama and I used to hate each other, but now we're friends. Naruto said as he grinned at Kurama. The massive 9-tailed fox just turned his head away in embarrassment. I show you all that people can change. If you all give your Jinchuriki a chance, I'm sure you can be friends with them. They'll have your back and you'll have theirs. Please just think about it. I know that humans and Biju can live together if we just make an effort to get to know each other, Naruto said passionately. All the Biju glanced at each other waiting to see who would speak up first. But all the Biju were surprised at who spoke up first. Sure, I'll give it a chance. All the Biju went wide-eyed when they heard Shukaku speak up first. I got to know Gaara better during the war. I want to try and make up for how I treated him as a child. Thank you, Shukaku, Naruto said as he bowed his head to the One-Tails. So what about the rest of you? Why not? Yugito and I had a stable relationship. It would be nice to see if we could be friends. Matabi said with a smile. Same here, me and Fu pretty much stayed out of each other's hair. So I'd like to try and be friends with her. Chome said with a buzz of his wings. One by one the other Biju started to agree, some of them took some extra convincing. But eventually Naruto got all of the Biju to agree to be sealed back inside their Jinchuriki. I thank you all for your cooperation. I'm sure that you'll all be able to work with Jinchuriki and become friends, right buddy? Naruto said as he turned to Kurama. Yeah, whatever the Gaki says, now would you all kindly leave, I wanna get some sleep. Kurama said as he laid his head onto his arms. Well, I'll see you guys soon. Once I find your Jinchuriki and convince them, I'll contact you and we'll have you sealed back inside your Jinchuriki, Naruto said, causing all the Biju to nod. He then turned to Shukaku. I'll be heading to Suna first. I'm sure Gaara will have no problem with this, so I'll be contacting you soon. I'll be looking forward to it, Gaki. Shukaku said before he disappeared. One by one each of the Biju said their goodbyes. Eventually it was just Naruto and Kurama. Well, that went well, Naruto said to himself. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Naruto walked up to Kurama and started to scratch behind his ear. This caused Kurama to let out a soft purr. Naruto stopped dead when he heard this. Did you just purr? Naruto asked as he tried to hold in his laughter. No, you're hearing things. Kurama said, extremely embarrassed. You totally did. Naruto exclaimed before he started rolling on the floor laughing. Get the fuck out of here, Gaki. Kurama roared, making Naruto stand up, but he was still laughing slightly. Sure thing, you big softy. Naruto said before he exited his mind. Kurama laid his head back down, still flushed with embarrassment. Stupid Gaki, why'd he have to stop? That felt really good. Kurama grumbled to himself as he tried to fall asleep. The next day, 7 a.m. Naruto stood at the village gates as he waited for his girls to show up. Sakura was the first to show up. She let out a yawn as she approached Naruto. Morning, Sakura-chan, Naruto exclaimed as he waved at Sakura. Sakura winced at the volume of Naruto's voice. Baka, quiet down or you'll wake the whole damn village. Sakura said as punched Naruto's arm. Sorry, Sakura-chan, Naruto said with his usual foxy grin as he rubbed his arm. Naruto and Sakura stood quietly next to each other as they waited for everyone else to show up. After a few minutes, Naruto started to get fidget out of boredom. What's taking them so long to get here? Naruto whined like a bored child. I don't know, Naruto, just find something to take your mind of waiting. Sakura said as she pulled out her medical pouch and started to arrange its contents. Naruto had a perverted grin on his face as he wrapped his arms around Sakura's waist and started kissing her neck. Sakura let out a soft moan when Naruto started to nibble on her ear. Naruto, what are you doing? Sakura asked as she started to get turned on. Sakura lemon scene. Ah, come on, I was enjoying the show. Enko whined as Naruto and Sakura both madly blushed. There will time for that later, Enko-chan. Naruto said as he grabbed Sakura's hand and led them out of the alley. You promise? Enko said as grabbed Naruto's free arm. Of course Enko, and I never break my promises. Naruto said with a grin. Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that. Enko said with a smile. When the three of them exited the alley, they spotted the rest of the girls along with Kakashi, Jiraiya, and Tsunade waiting at the gates. But to Naruto's surprise, Shisui, Choji, and Sai were also standing amongst the group. Hey everyone! Naruto yelled, making everyone turn to face him. Naruto gave each of his girls a kiss. He then hugged Tsunade and greeted Jiraiya and Kakashi. After greeting Kakashi, Naruto gave his former sensei a confused look. Sensei, why are Shisui, Choji, and Sai here? Also, why do you look so tired, sensei? Oh, they'll be going with you on your mission. I wanted to give you just a little extra backup to be safe. Kakashi said with an eye smile. Oh, and I'm tired, because I was out late last night with Shizune. Hearing this made everyone, especially Tsunade, go wide-eyed. What, we just went out to dinner, and we were up late talking. Kakashi explained, feeling everyone's eyes on him. Good job, Kakashi, I knew you had it in you. Jiraiya said as he slapped Kakashi on the back. Kakashi, I swear you better not hurt her. Tsunade warned in a dangerous tone. As Tsunade was warning Kakashi, Naruto turned to the newest members of his team. Okay, well then, welcome to the team, guys. Naruto said as he smiled at the three new members to his team. I'm happy to help, Shisui said with a smile. I'm a member of Team 7, so I'm always happy to help you and Sakura. Sai said as rested a hand on Naruto's shoulder. It'll be fun, plus I'll get to try a lot of awesome food. Choji said as he offered Naruto some chips. Naruto then turned to his girls. So are you all ready? They all nodded and picked up their bags. Okay everyone, we'll be back soon. Naruto said as he gave Tsunade another hug. Be safe, Gaki, Tsunade said before she leaned in and whispered into Naruto's ear. And please keep them safe too. Of course, Bachan, Naruto said as he tightened the hug. Then Naruto turned to Jiraiya and gave his master a manly hug. I'll see you soon, Naruto, and when you get back you'll have to show me all your new skills. Jiraiya said with a smirk. Of course, Arrow Sennin, Naruto exclaimed enthusiastically. But before Naruto could turn around, Jiraiya quickly grabbed his shoulder. He leaned and whispered in Naruto's ear. One more thing, why do you have all these girls with you? Oh, they're all my girlfriends. Bachan put me in the CRA, so they'll eventually be my wives. Naruto said with a grin as he watched Jiraiya's face. Even Conan. Yes, even Conan, Naruto said with a smirk. Why, you're living the dream, kid. Jiraiya said as he passed out with blood running out his nose. Damn pervert, Tsunade sighed as she hefted Jiraiya over her shoulder. Did something happen between you two? Naruto asked, making Tsunade turn red. What are you talking about? Tsunade stammered out. Well, you'd usually beat the shit out of Arrow Sennin, or at least yell at him. Tsunade stumbled over her words as she tried to come up with an excuse. Naruto just smiled as he watched her. Don't worry, Bachan, I'll keep it a secret. Naruto then turned around and started to walk towards the gate, leaving a flustered Tsunade behind him. Well, girls and boys, let's get going. Naruto yelled out as he started to sprint down the road. Sakura just sighed as she started to run after him with everyone else in tow. I swear he has too much damn energy, Sakura said with a small smile on her face. But's another thing I love about him. He's like a damn child sometimes, but at others he most mature person in the room. So which village are we headed to first? Tenten asked as she caught up to Naruto. We're headed to Suna first. Man, I can't wait to see Gara, Naruto said with a smile as he continued running. Tenten hid the smirk that spread across her face. Tamari, I'm coming for you, and I'm bringing some serious payback. 3 days later, just outside Suna, Naruto's group had set up camp in a small cave about a half-day's travel from Suna. They were making good time, hopefully they could be in Suna by around midday. Currently Naruto was staring into the dying flames of the campfire, while the rest of the group slept. Naruto was in deep thought as he gazed into the flickering flames. He was roused from his thoughts when he heard someone speak behind him. "You're still up." Naruto turned his head to see Sakura standing behind him. She stifled a yawn as she walked over to him, her pink hair in a mess as she rubbed the sleep out of her eyes. When she reached Naruto, she quietly sat next to him and stared into the fire as well. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Sakura spoke up. "So why are you still up?" "I was just thinking." "Huh? You thinking? Yeah right." Sakura said, earning a childish pout from Naruto. She slapped him on the arm playfully, and giggled when she saw his face. "I was just kidding. So what were you thinking about?" "I was just thinking about how much my life has changed in the past few months. I mean, I'm on a mission that is gonna help me with my Hokage training. I've been put in the CRA and I've got 7 amazing girlfriends that can hopefully be my wives one day, and I'm gonna be a father in less than a year." Naruto said as he continued to stare into the flames. "Sometimes I wonder if this all just a dream or something." Sakura rested her head against Naruto's shoulder and gripped his arm. "Well, Naruto Uzumaki, this isn't a dream. You are on your way to becoming Hokage, you do have 7 beautiful girlfriends, you are gonna be a father, and I love you so much." Sakura said, causing a smile to spread across Naruto's face. "I love you too, Sakura-chan. I love all you girls. I know, Naruto, all of us know." Sakura said as she gripped Naruto's arm a little tighter. Comfortable silence washed over them again. But this was broken when Naruto felt Sakura lightly push away from him. He turned to see her biting her lip in nervousness. "Sakura-chan, what's up?" Naruto asked, worry evident in his voice. "Now's the perfect time to tell him, so do it," inner Sakura said to her outer self. Naruto, I have something I've been meaning to say to you." "What is it, Sakura-chan?" Sakura took a deep breath and gazed into Naruto's blue eyes. I'm sorry," Sakura said, earning a confused look from Naruto. "What are you sorry for, Sakura-chan?" "For everything," Sakura said as tears started to form in her eyes. "For hitting you, for yelling at you, for ignoring you all those years, and for being an ignorant bitch." Sakura then wrapped her arms around Naruto and cried into his shoulder. "Please forgive me, Naruto," she said in between sobs. Naruto wrapped his arms around Sakura and held her close. "Sakura-chan, you don't get it, do you?" Naruto asked in a soothing voice. What?" Sakura asked, trying to wipe away her tears. "You hit me, because you cared about me." Sakura's eyes widened when she heard this. She felt Naruto grasp her hands with his own. "You yelled at me and hit me whenever I was taking things too far, or when I was doing something stupid or perverted. It was your own way of showing that you were worried about me. Whenever I was reckless and got hurt, you'd yell at me and scold me. But even though you'd call me an baka, I knew that you were just worried about me. You didn't want me to make any mistakes that could get me hurt. Your scolding helped set me on the right path, Sakura-chan." Fresh tears had formed in Sakura's eyes as she listened to Naruto. "You're my cherry blossom, who helped me bloom into the man I am today." A smile spread across Sakura's face as tears continued to flow from her eyes. "Why, you're such a baka," Sakura said as she pulled Naruto into another tight hug. "I love you so much." "I love you too, Sakura-chan," Naruto said as he kissed her forehead. They sat like this for a few minutes. Naruto let Sakura hold onto him tightly as they sat by the fire. "Did my mother tell you what one of her dying wishes was?" Naruto asked suddenly. "No, she never mentioned anything like that to me. Well, before my father sealed Kurama inside me, he let my mother say her final words to me." Naruto took a breath to calm his nerves before he resumed speaking. "She told me to eat right, to get plenty of sleep, to bathe every day, to study my ninjutsu and respect my teachers, to make friends, to have a dream, to adhere to the 3 shinobi prohibitions, and," Naruto looked into Sakura's eyes and cupped her chin. "She told me to find a woman like her to fall in love with. That woman has always been you, Sakura-chan." Really? You think I'm like your mother? Are you kidding? All you're missing is her long red hair and her violet eyes. Except for that, you're practically her twin." Sakura just blushed and hugged Naruto again. As they held each other, Naruto ran his fingers through Sakura's silky hair. "You're growing your hair out," Naruto said with a smile. "Yeah, you said you liked when my hair was longer, so I thought I'd give it a try." Sakura said as she ran a hand through her hair, which now went past her shoulders. Well, it looks great, Sakura-chan. Naruto said as he gave her a chaste kiss. Now get some sleep, we're leaving early tomorrow. Okay Naruto, but you need to get some sleep too. Sakura said as she stood up. I will, don't worry. Naruto said with a grin. I love you Naruto. Sakura said as she walked over to her sleeping bag. I love you too, Sakura-chan. Naruto stared into the flames for a few more minutes before he got up and went to bed. The next day, a sandstorm had delayed the group's departure by several hours. They didn't arrive in Suna until the sun was setting. As the group approached the village entrance, several guards appeared in front of them. Halt! State your names and business. The lead guard said as he held up his hand. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and this is my team, Naruto said as he gestured towards the rest of the group. We're here on a mission directly from the Hokage. So we need to see Gaara immediately. You will address the cage with respect, you little. The guard was stopped when a voice spoke up behind him. That is quite enough, Baki. Baki turned to see Gaara standing behind him. Kazekage-sama. Baki exclaimed before he quickly bowed to Gaara. These Konoha shinobi were asking to see you. They said something about a mission directly from the Hokage. I know. Kakashi sent word that Naruto and his team would be coming soon. I've actually been expecting them for a while now. Gaara said before he turned his gaze to Naruto. You and your team can follow me to the cage tower. Everyone on Naruto's team nodded and followed Gaara through the village. Since it was past sunset, the streets were mostly empty. It only took the group a few minutes to get from the village entrance to the cage tower. After being led through the halls, our group eventually found themselves in Gaara's office. Alright Naruto, what is your mission here? Kakashi alerted me that you'd be coming, but he didn't give me details as to why you're here. Well, this mission is supposed to be the first step in my Hokage training. My team and I are to travel to each of the hidden villages with Biju and check up on their current situation. Gaara closed his eyes and nodded. I see, I'll be happy to inform you of our village's current status, Gaara said as he turned his gaze to the rest of Naruto's group. But I'd rather discuss this in private. So I'll have Matsuri escort the rest of your team to their rooms. Tenten was about to speak up, but Naruto stopped her. That's fine Gaara, Naruto said as he turned to his girls and smiled. You girls go get some rest, it's been a long day. All of the girls nodded and followed Matsuri, who had just shown up, to their rooms. But before Choji, Sai, and Shisui could follow them, Naruto stopped them. You three make sure nothing happens to any of them. Hi. The three boys said simultaneously. Naruto nodded and the three of them left to find their rooms. When Naruto turned around, he saw a rare smirk grace Gaara's face. What? You have a lot to tell me later. Naruto sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. Sure, we'll talk about that later, but right now I have something important I need to discuss with you. Oh, and what would that be? Gaara said as he leaned back in his chair. Naruto took a deep breath before he spoke. Shukaku wishes to be sealed back inside you. Gaara's eyes widened slightly as he sat back forward. What did you just say? I've spoken with Shukaku and he wants you to be his Jinchuriki again. Why would he want to do that? He said he wants to try and make amends for what he did to you as a child. I've changed all the Biju's view on humans, and they all wish to give their Jinchuriki another chance. Gaara clasped his hands and closed his eyes. I hold no ill feelings towards Shukaku. If he wishes to be sealed within me again, I'm willing to give it another chance, Gaara replied, making Naruto smile. However, I will need to speak with council about this, so give me a few days to prepare. Sure thing Gaara, I'll contact Shukaku and inform him of your decision. Very well, Gaara said as he leaned back in his chair. Now let's get down to business. Almost 3 hours had passed before Gaara had finished briefing Naruto on the village's status. Well, that's about everything, Gaara said as he sipped from a cup of tea. Good, I'll send a report to Kakashi-sensei tomorrow, Naruto said as he stood to leave. Well, I'll see you tomorrow Gaara. Right before Naruto could walk out the door, Sand pushed the door closed. Naruto turned to see Gaara smirking at him again. Where do you think you're going, Uzumaki? You still have some things to tell me. Gaara said, motioning for Naruto to take a seat. Damn it, I was hoping you had forgot. Naruto muttered under his breath as he sat back down. So what's going on with you and those girls? You seem awfully protective around them. Naruto scratched the back of his head in embarrassment as he spoke. Well, you see, I'm the last male Uzumaki, and the last Namikaze. So before Tsunade Bachan stepped down as Hokage, she put me in the CRA. Gaara nodded in recognition. I've heard of the program. Well, those girls are all my future wives. Naruto said as a blush spread across his face. Even Sakura-san. Yes, Sakura-chan was the first to join actually. Naruto said, causing a small smile to grace Gaara's face. I always knew you two would get together. I could tell you really loved her, especially after you fought against me. Yeah, I love all of the girls, I'd give my life to keep them all safe, Naruto said. But what he said next made Gaara's eyes widen. Especially since they're all pregnant. They're all pregnant. Yes, Naruto said with a big smile. They're all having one, except for Hinata-chan who's having twins and Sakura-chan who's having triplets. That's a lot of children, Naruto. I hope you're prepared. I will admit I'm a little nervous, but with the girls' help I know we'll do fine. You'll be a great father, Naruto. Gaara said as he smiled at his friend. Thanks, Gaara, that means a lot. Naruto said, returning the smile. Well, that's all, you're free to go. Naruto stood to leave, but before he left he remembered something important he had forgotten to tell Gaara. Gaara, before I go I have something else important I need to tell you. What is it now, Naruto? Okay, I need you to not get mad at me. Whatever it is, Naruto, I'm sure it's not that bad. Naruto started to chuckle nervously as he rubbed the back of his head again. What if I told that I brought Obito Uchiha back to life? Gaara sat motionless as he stared at Naruto. Care to run that by me again? I brought Obito back to life. That's what I thought you said. Gaara replied as he rubbed his temples. I'm sure you have good reasons, Naruto, and I trust you completely. But this will likely cause hell with Kumo and Iwa. I'm not sure how the Mizukage will take this news, but Ain Onoki will likely throw a fit, Gaara said with a sigh. I will not inform the other villages of this news. All of this will be in your hands. Thank you for being so understanding, Gaara, Naruto said with a slight bow. Oh, and Gaara, one more thing. Gaara sighed heavily before he spoke. What did you bring Madara back to? Gaara asked sarcastically. No, I actually wanted to know where I might be able to find Temari. Gaara's eyes narrowed as he stared at Naruto. Why do you want to know where my sister is? Gaara said in a dangerous tone. I just wanted to speak with her about a few things, Naruto said nervously. That's all, I swear. Fine, she's likely on the roof. Gaara said as he stood to look out the window. Thanks, Gaara, I'll see you soon. Naruto said as he walked to the door. But right before he stepped out, Gaara's voice stopped him. Temari has taken her recent breakup with Shikamaru very hard, Gaara said as he turned his head to look at Naruto. So I want you to remember that we're surrounded by a vast desert. Plenty of places to hide the bodies of those who hurt my family. Do you understand? Oh, of course, Gaara. Naruto said before he practically sprinted out of the room. 5 minutes later, roof of the cage tower. Temari was staring out into the night sky as she leaned against the roof's railing. She was thinking about many things. But one thing that kept appearing in her mind was what Sakura had said to her. She knew Naruto was going to be in the village soon, but she didn't know if she could handle seeing him so soon. The Suna Kunoichi was so confused on her feelings for the blonde knucklehead. She struggled to find any reason to not give him a chance. But her breakup with Shikamaru had hurt her bad, and she didn't know if she was ready to let anybody have a chance at her heart yet. As Temari stared into the sky, she felt another chakra signature land on the roof. Believing it was just Gaara or Kankuro coming to check up on her, she didn't bother turning around. But when the newcomer leaned on the railing next to her, she snuck a glance at who it was. She nearly gasped when the man she had just been thinking standing right next to her. It's a beautiful night, isn't it? Naruto said as he stared into the clear starlit sky. Why, yeah. Temari stuttered out as turned her gaze away from Naruto. They stood in silence for a while and Temari was starting to feel a little uncomfortable. Why are you here, Naruto? Temari asked as she turned her head to look at Naruto. I came to talk with you, obviously. Naruto said as he flashed a grin at her, making her heart flutter a little. But why do want to talk with me? I heard about your breakup with Shikamaru, and I wanted to talk with you about it. You know, make sure you were holding up okay. Temari tore her gaze from Naruto and bit her bottom lip. She didn't really want to discuss her breakup right now, but Naruto had come to comfort her and it might be good to get some things off her chest. I'm all right now, but it really hurt at first, Temari said after a few moments of silence. I did love Shika, and I still care for him, but I guess we just weren't compatible. Naruto watched Temari's eyes sadden. Wanting to cheer her up, Naruto did something daring. He stepped closer and wrapped his arm around Temari's waist. Pulling her close, he let her rest her head against his shoulder as they stared into the night sky. Temari was surprised at Naruto's sudden action. But she quickly found herself melting into his embrace, he just felt so warm and comforting. She unconsciously drew herself closer to Naruto. Temari-chan, I'm truly sorry about what happened between you and Shikamaru, Naruto said, making Temari blush at the added suffix. But I'm sure you'll find the right guy out there somewhere. Temari turned her head to see Naruto giving her a beaming smile. Sakura is right, I should at least give him a chance. Temari thought as she slowly pushed away from Naruto's embrace. Naruto, how would you like to hang out with me tomorrow? Temari asked as her cheeks tinged pink. What, like a date? Yeah, a date. Sure thing Temari-chan, that sounds like fun, Naruto said with a smile as he turned to leave. Good night, Temari-chan. Good night, Naruto, Temari said with a smile. But before Naruto hopped off the roof, he flashed through a few hand signs. Temari watched as a small cloud of smoke appeared in Naruto's hand. When the smoke cleared, Temari saw a beautiful flower. Your beauty rivals this desert rose, Temari-chan, Naruto said as he handed Temari the beautiful flower. Temari took the flower and clasped it over her rapidly beating heart. Feeling daring again, Naruto leaned forward and kissed Temari's cheek before he quickly jumped off the roof. The Sunakunoichi reached a hand up and touched the cheek Naruto had kissed. A blush spread across her face as she remembered Naruto's lips on her face. Temari turned to look back at the sky as new thoughts raced through her mind. While she was staring into the sky, Temari failed to notice a figure standing on a nearby rooftop. Tenten quickly hopped of the building's roof with a smirk on her face. You are not laying a finger on my man until I've had my payback, Tenten said to herself as she thought of ways to get her revenge. Same time in Konoha. Karen was walking back to her apartment after a grueling day of training under Tsunade and Shizune. It was a particularly cold night as she walked the empty village streets. She hugged herself as a chilly wind made shivers shoot through her body. Damn it, I hate this time of year, Karen muttered as she rounded a corner. But Karen stopped in her tracks when she heard a voice behind her. What's a pretty little thing like you doing out this late alone? Karen turned around to see a sleazy-looking man dressed in Chunin attire leering at her. What the hell do you want? Karen spat out as she took a step back. Ooh, you're a feisty one, I like that, the man said as he took a step forward. Now why don't you come with me, and we can have some fun? Karen turned to run, but the man reached out and grabbed her red hair. Where do you think you're going? The man said as he yanked Karen close. Someone help. Karen tried to scream more, but the man clasped a hand over her mouth. Hey, no need to wake everyone up, he said with a sleazy grin. Now why don't you stop fighting? Karen chose this moment to sink her teeth into the man's hand, tearing out a chunk of flesh. Ah, you bitch, the man yelled as he clutched his bleeding hand. I was just gonna have some fun with you. But now it looks like I'm gonna have to rough you up a little. The man then pulled out a kunai and charged Karen. Karen spit out the chunk of flesh, and took a defensive stance, as she prepared for the charging man. But when the man was just a few feet away, he grunted and fell over unconscious. Karen's eyes widened when she saw a new figure standing over her wannabe rapist. The new figure's chakra was cool, collected, and very soothing, and it instantly relaxed her. The man had dark hair, and was wearing a Jonin vest, but it was blue instead of green. He also had a Konoha headband around his head, and sword strapped to his back. Are you alright? The dark-haired man asked. Why yeah, I'm fine, but who are you? Karen asked, slightly shaken. I'm Itachi Uchiha, and I'm a Konoha police officer, the newly named Itachi said with a small smile. Wait, you're Itachi, I thought Sasuke killed you, Karen said as she pointed at Itachi. You knew Sasuke? Yeah, I was a part of his team when he was hunting you down. And when he wanted to destroy this village, Karen said the last part softly as she looked towards the ground. But answer my question, how are you alive? Oh, that's simple, Naruto-kun brought me back to life. Itachi said, making Karen's red eyes widen. Naruto brought you back, Karen said as she turned her gaze back to Itachi. Well, if he brought you back then he must have had a good reason, I trust him completely. Itachi nodded and turned to look down the road. Obito, hurry up will you? Itachi yelled just as Obito rounded the corner panting. Man Itachi, you need to slow down, Obito panted out as he rested his hands on his knees. You gotta remember I don't have access to my chakra, so I can't use it to enhance my speed. I'll try to remember that next time, but right now I need you to take this man to Hokage-sama, Itachi said as he picked the criminal up and handed him to Obito, who slung the man over his shoulder. I'll be at the tower momentarily. Yeah, whatever. Obito grumbled out as he carried the criminal towards the tower. Itachi turned around to see Karen staring at him with her mouth agape. Was that who I thought it was? Karen stuttered out as she watched Obito round the corner. I'll explain it later, but he's on our side. It was Naruto again, wasn't it? Karen asked, earning a nod from Itachi, which made her pinch the bridge of her nose. Kami, he can be such a baka sometimes, but he must have his reasons. Karen said as she wrapped her arms around herself. Itachi frowned when he saw Karen shiver. I could escort you home if you'd like. Karen looked at Itachi for a moment before she nodded. As they walked, Karen found Itachi's chakra very enticing, and she found herself walking closer and closer to him. After 10 minutes they had arrived outside her apartment. Thank you for walking me home, Karen said with a small blush across her face. It was my pleasure, miss. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, Itachi said with an embarrassed smile. Oh, my name is Karen, the redhead replied in a cheery tone. Karen Uzumaki. So you're in Uzumaki as well? Yep, Karen said in a happy tone. Well, it was nice meeting you, Karen, but I must get to the tower. But before Itachi could jump off, Karen stopped him. Wait, Karen exclaimed, causing Itachi to turn around. Is there something else I can do for you? Well, I was wondering if you maybe wanted to get something to eat sometime. Karen stuttered out with a massive blush across her face. Itachi thought for a moment before he smiled. I'd like that. With that, Itachi jumped off into the night, leaving a madly blushing Karen to squeal in happiness as she quickly entered her apartment. The next night, Naruto walked the streets of Suna on his way to the Cage mansion to meet Temari. As he walked, Naruto thought about what he and his girls had been doing all the day. The group tried to make themselves useful while they were in the village, so they helped where they could. Sakura and Ino went to the hospital to offer their assistance. Shisui, Konan, and Hinata went to the local academy to help the teachers. Sai had run into Kankuro, and the both of them had went off towards Suna's Anbu headquarters. Enko and Choji dragged Ryuzetsu along as they scoured the village looking for new foods to try out. Strangely, Tenten just took off on her own with a strange look on her face. Naruto spent most of the day filling out a report to send to Kakashi. After finishing his report, he managed to convince Gaara to sneak out of his office and get in a quick spar. Gaara had put up a decent fight, but in the end he was literally blown away by Naruto's new abilities. After scorching and rearranging a large portion of the desert, Naruto helped a battered and bruised Gaara walk back to the village. Baki and the other gate guards nearly passed out when they saw Gaara limp past them. But a quick explanation from Gaara calmed the guards down. Since Gaara had lost the spar, he made the mistake of offering to buy Naruto lunch. Gaara sat wide-eyed as he watched Naruto inhale all the food that was brought to him. So besides kicking the crap out of me, what else do you have planned today? Gaara asked, snapping out his stupor. Naruto stopped mid-bite when he heard Gaara speak. I'm a terrible liar, he'll be able to see right through any lies I come up with. I might as well just tell him. Naruto thought as he gulped down his food. Well, Naruto muttered the last part so Gaara couldn't hear. What was that, Naruto? Gaara asked. He took a bite of his meal. I said I'm going on a date with Temari, Naruto said, causing Gaara to nearly choke on his food. After forcing down the food in his throat, Gaara narrowed his eyes at Naruto. What did I tell you last night? Gaara said in a dangerous tone. See, calm down, Gaara, she's the one who asked me, Naruto exclaimed as he waved his hand defensively. Hearing this made Gaara's eyes widen slightly. Plus I spoke with Shikamaru after the breakup, Naruto said as he looked Gaara in the eyes. He explained to me what happened, and he asked me to give Temari a chance if she ever asked me out. I want to try and make Temari-chan happy. Gaara's eyes softened when he heard this. Closing his eyes, Gaara crossed his arms and let out a sigh. As Shikamaru would say, "You truly are troublesome, Naruto," Gaara said as a small smile appeared on his face. "If Temari wants to date you, then you have my blessings. I trust her happiness to you, Naruto, but I would be wary of Kankuro. He may not take this as well as I have, he may not show it, but Kankuro is very protective with Temari." "Sure thing, Gaara, I'll keep that in mind, and don't worry, I'll do my best to make Temari-chan happy," Naruto said as he stood to leave. "Well, I gotta go. I have to check up on my team before I freshen up for tonight." As Naruto turned to leave, Gaara stopped him. "One more thing before you go, Naruto," Gaara said, making Naruto turn to face him. Gaara's eyes shot open, and he aimed a darkened gaze at Naruto, causing him to flinch in fear. "Remember what I said, if you hurt Temari you'll get to personally experience what a Sabaku-Q feels like. That area we sparred in earlier would be the perfect place to hide a body, wouldn't you agree, Naruto?" Naruto just shuddered and bolted out of the restaurant. Gaara smirked as he sipped his tea. "That ought to make him fear me." Naruto did just as he told Gaara. He dashed around the village and checked up on his girls, and told them where he would be that night. Most of them were happy to hear he was giving Temari a chance, especially Sakura. But when Naruto told Tenten, she just smirked and walked off, twirling a kunai around the end of her index finger. After meeting with all his girl, Naruto went to his room and freshened up for his date. Now he stood outside the Cage mansion, while he waited for Temari emerge. After waiting for a few minutes, Temari emerged dressed in the outfit Naruto had seen her wear at the 5-Cage summit. "So what do you have planned tonight, Naruto?" Temari asked as she walked down the steps. "Well, I thought we could go out and get a bite to eat, then I have a surprise for you," Naruto said with a foxy grin. "Okay, lover boy, let's see what you have planned," Temari said with a smirk as she followed Naruto. Neither one of them noticed the small eyeball following them. Naruto took Temari to a decent restaurant near the edge of the village. Dinner went surprisingly well. Temari was surprised at how much she actually enjoyed Naruto's company. He could be genuinely funny, making her burst out laughing on several occasions, and he had some amazing stories to tell. Temari also loved how energetic Naruto was. It was a great change of pace. After dinner, Naruto led Temari back out into the street. "So lover boy, what do you have planned next?" Temari asked as she subconsciously hugged Naruto's arm. "Well, it's a surprise," Naruto said with another foxy grin. "I'm gonna need you to hold on tight, and close your eyes." "Why?" Temari asked, slightly confused. "Do you trust me?" Temari blinked at Naruto before she nodded. Temari closed her eyes, and she gripped onto Naruto tighter. There was a bright flash, and for a few seconds she felt completely weightless. "Damn it, where did they go?" Gaara said to himself as he stood in his office. "Okay, you can open your eyes," Temari heard Naruto's voice say. When Temari opened her eyes, she had no idea where she was. "Where are we?" Temari asked as she tried to figure out where they were. "We're in Konoha," Naruto said, causing Temari's head to snap to face him. "How the hell are we all the way in Konoha?" she asked, completely stunned. "I figured out how to use my father's Hiraishin jutsu. So now as long as I have something or someone tagged with a special seal, I can teleport right to them." Naruto grinned when he saw Temari's stunned face. "I secretly placed a seal on all the girls so I could be at their side in a moment's notice." Wow. Temari breathed out as she looked at Naruto with a new perspective. "But why did you bring us to Konoha?" "I figured you might like to relax in Konoha's famous hot springs," Naruto said as he gestured to a building behind them. Temari squealed when she saw the building. She could already feel the water melting away all her stress. But then a thought came to her, and she narrowed her eyes. "Naruto Uzumaki, is this some way for you to peep on me?" Temari said in an upset tone. "Of course not, Temari-chan, I would never stoop to peeping." Temari just continued to stare at Naruto. "Okay, fine. I may have kinda peeped when I was younger," Naruto said as he rubbed the back of his head. "But I know never to peep on a kunoichi, especially one as strong as you." Temari relaxed slightly and crossed her arms. "Alright, but I swear to Kami, if I catch you peeping I'll beat your ass so bad not even Tsunade-sama can heal you." Message understood, Naruto said with a gulp. Now come on, I rented out the entire place, so it should just be us. Wow, that must have been expensive. Temari said as they walked into the building. Yeah, it was, but I'm very good at saving my money. So I have a decent amount of money saved up from doing missions. Temari just nodded as they both separated to go to their changing rooms. Ah, this is nice, isn't it, Temari-chan? Naruto said as he sunk into the warm water. He rested his head against the barrier separating the men's side from the women's side. Yeah, this is the life. Temari replied as she too rested her head against the barrier as she sunk into the relaxing water. They both sat in comfortable silence as they let the water soak away their stress. While she relaxed, Temari's mind wandered and she started to think about the man in the springs right behind her. She had seriously misjudged the blonde baka. He was pretty much everything she could ever want in a man, and then some. But she still didn't know if she was fully ready to commit to another relationship. However, she was willing to give Naruto a chance, who knows, maybe he was the one she was searching for. All the other girls with Naruto seriously seemed happy to be with him. Hey Naruto. Temari asked, breaking the silence. Yeah, Temari-chan. I wanted to thank you. Temari said, her face stained with a blush. What are you thanking me for? Naruto asked in a confused tone. For everything, Temari said as she tried to calm her racing heart. Especially for everything you've done for my family. Are you talking about what I did for Gaara? Naruto asked as he laughed lightly. You don't need to thank me. I'm happy to have helped Gaara. No Naruto, I do need thank you, the Suna Kunoichi said as she clutched a hand over her fluttering heart. You dragged Gaara out of the darkness, and showed him the importance of love and having friends. If it weren't for you, I shudder to think of what Gaara may have become. Like I said before, I was happy to help, Naruto said, causing a smile to spread across Temari's face. Gaara was a Jinchuriki like me, and I understood his pain better than just about anyone. Since we both shared the same pain, I knew what Gaara needed to see the light. I knew that if Gaara understood the power of love and the importance of having friends, that he could escape his darkness. Now Gaara is one of my closest friends, I would give my life to protect him, or any of my precious people. Temari fought back tears as she listened to Naruto speak. Thank you Naruto. Temari said quietly as she choked back a sob. Hey, are you alright Temari-chan? Naruto asked, slightly concerned. You want a hug? Yeah, a hug would be. No way, you perv. Temari yelled as her face flushed with embarrassment. Naruto burst out laughing from behind the barrier. Huh, I knew that would take your mind off what we were talking about, Naruto said as he sunk deeper into the water. Now just relax Temari-chan, we still have this place all to ourselves for another hour. So we can just sit back and talk about something else. Temari crossed her arms and huffed. I will get you back for that Naruto Uzumaki. Temari said, making Naruto laugh again. I'll be looking forward to it. After another hour, Naruto and Temari exited the hot springs and met out front of the bathhouse. So you ready to head back? Naruto asked when he met Temari out front. Yup, Temari said as she grabbed Naruto's arm. Before Naruto teleported them back, he pulled a kunai out and threw it. A few seconds later there was a scream and a crash. Temari turned to see Jiraiya lying in a heap on the ground. Arrow Senin, I'm kicking your perverted ass when I get back from this mission. Naruto said as he teleported both of them away. Shit, knowing how strong that kid is now, he could definitely kick my ass easily. Jiraiya thought as he stood up. But Jiraiya stopped dead when he heard knuckles cracking behind him. He slowly turned to see Tsunade glaring at him with chakra flaring off her fist. You were peeping again Jiraiya. Tsunade said as she took a step forward. And now Haim, calm down. Jiraiya said as he held up his hands defensively. Why do you keep peeping when you have me now? Tsunade said as she grabbed Jiraiya by his shirt and lifted him into the air. I was researching. Jiraiya said without thinking, but all color drained from his face when he saw Tsunade cock her fist back. Wrong answer. Tsunade growled out as her fist shot forward, hitting Jiraiya in the face, sending him flying across the village. Tsunade sighed as she followed the path Jiraiya had taken as he flew across the sky. That stupid baka, he'll never change. Tsunade said, shaking her head, but a small smile was on her face. In a yellow flash, Naruto and Temari stood in front of the Cage mansion. Well, we're here. Naruto said with a smile. I had an amazing time tonight, Naruto. Temari said, returning the smile. We should do this again before I leave. Naruto said as he stared into Temari's eyes. Why yeah. Temari breathed out as she got lost in Naruto's electric blue eyes. They both stood getting lost in each other's eyes. Kiss her you pussy. Kurama roared from inside Naruto's mind. Ah, why the hell not? Naruto started to lean forward. But before their lips could touch, a kunai flew past their faces and embedded itself in the wall behind them. Hands off my man. Both Naruto and Temari's heads turned to see Tenten standing a few feet away from them. She had several kunai in her and between her fingers. Tenten-chan, what are you doing? Naruto asked as he stepped towards her. You stay back. Tenten yelled as she pointed a kunai at Temari. This is between me and her. What do you want? Temari spat out as she glared at Tenten. Me, right now, we're gonna have a rematch, Tenten said with a smirk. If you win I'll back off, but if I win you stay the hell away from my Naruto-kun. Temari continued to glare at Tenten. Come on Tenten-chan, there's no need for this, Naruto pleaded. I'm sorry Naruto, but I have to do this. She humiliated me in front of everyone, I want a chance to redeem myself. Tenten said as she turned to face Naruto. Please just stay out of this. Naruto looked into Tenten's eyes, and he could see she wasn't going to back down. Alright Tenten-chan, but please don't go overboard. Naruto said with a sigh. So are you gonna fight, or are you gonna back down? Tenten said as she turned back to face Temari. Temari looked at Naruto and her eyes softened. He's worth fighting for. Temari thought as her eyes filled with determination. You're on. Temari exclaimed as she hoisted her fan off her back. Excellent. Tenten said with a feral grin. Tenten and Temari stood across from each other in a strip of desert just outside the village. Temari opened her fan, while Tenten had a scroll in her hand ready to be opened. Both kunoichi glared at each other waiting for the other to make the first move. Temari suddenly hefted her fan and swung it. Futon. Kazakiri no jutsu, Temari said as several blades of wind flew towards Tenten. Quickly rolling out of the way, Tenten opened her scroll. There was a puff of smoke, and Tenten held a weapon in her hands. No way, she's using that already. Naruto thought in a panic when he saw Tenten holding the Bashozen. Tenten, what are you doing? Naruto yelled as Tenten prepared to attack. You know how much of a toll that thing takes on your chakra. But it was too late as Tenten raised the fan. Bashozen, Hai no Maki. Tenten swiped the fan causing a massive wall of fire to fly at Temari. Temari went wide-eyed when she saw the fire racing towards her. The Suna Kunoichi jumped over the flames, her feet barely clearing the scorching wall of fire. When she cleared the flames, Temari saw Tenten bringing her fan back for another attack. Quickly biting her thumb, Temari swiped blood across her fan. Kuchios, Kurikiri Mai. Temari swung her fan summoning Katamari. The weasel spun toward Tenten swinging a sickle. Temari was stunned when she saw Tenten duck under Katamari, and grab the weasel by its tail. Tenten tossed the weasel into the air and swung her fan. Bashozen, Kei's no Maki. An insanely powerful blast of wind sent Katamari rocketing back towards Temari. The Suna Kunoichi tried to dodge, but the weasel hit her in the stomach, knocking the wind out of her. Tenten fell to one knee as she panted heavily. The Bashozen had drained a massive amount of her chakra. She spotted Temari clutching her stomach as she slowly rose to her feet. Time to finish this, Tenten thought as she gathered her strength and jumped into the air, unraveling 2 scrolls as she went. So Shoryu. The air around Tenten was filled with dozens of various weapons. This ends now. Regaining her breath, Temari started frantically dodging all of the oncoming weapons. But there were too many weapons, and Temari was quickly tiring. A few kunai grazed her as her dodging became sluggish. I have to get rid of these damn weapons. Temari thought as she saw an opening and raised her fan. Futon. Okamedachi no jutsu. When Temari swiped her fan, a massive gust of wind blew through the area. Tenten and her weapons were blown back by the force of the wind. Temari watched with a smirk as Tenten fell to the ground in a heap, surrounded by her fallen weapons. Huh, looks like I win, Temari panted out as she closed her fan. Again. No, I refuse to give up. Temari went wide-eyed when she saw Tenten lift herself up off the ground. The Suna Kunoichi could have sworn she saw Tenten's eyes become red and slitted for a moment. Tenten's chakra flared, before she stood and immediately charged Temari with remarkable speed. How the hell is she so fast all of a sudden? Temari thought as Tenten closed in. Dynamiku Entori. Tenten jumped and raised her leg, much like Lee. Temari raised her fan to block the attack. But when Tenten's foot hit the fan, Temari was shocked to see it start to dent and crack. She's breaking my fan with just one kick. Temari thought as she was sent skidding backwards by the force of the kick. Tenten was immediately on top of Temari, engaging her in taijutsu. Temari was quickly put on the defensive by the force and speed of Tenten's strikes. What the hell happened? She was dead tired a second ago. Now it's like she got a power boost or something. Temari thought as she raised her arm to block a roundhouse kick aimed at her head. I won't lose. Tenten roared as she cocked her fist back. Now's my chance. Temari thought as she swung her fan. Just when Tenten's fist made contact with Temari's jaw, Temari's fan hit Tenten's chin. Both kunoichi went flying back from the force of the blows. They both panted as they laid on the ground. Damn, that was a nice punch. Temari said as she held her aching jaw. That wasn't a bad swing either. Tenten replied as she spit some blood out of her mouth. Are you both alright? Naruto and a clone exclaimed as they helped Tenten and Temari stand. We're fine Naruto, it's over. Tenten said as she used Naruto's support to stand. Okay, let's get you both to Sakura-chan so she can heal you too. Naruto and his clone said as they helped the girls walk to the village. Hey Tenten, Temari asked as they entered the village. Yeah, Tenten replied, turning her head to look at Temari. Truce? Temari asked as she extended her hand. Tenten looked at Temari's hand and grinned. Truce, Tenten said as she shook Temari's hand. But we will fight again, and I will win next time. Name the time and the place. Temari said with her own grin. Naruto watched the girls with a smile on his face. It looks like they'll be friends after all. 4 days later. 4 days after the fight, Naruto and Temari had went on 3 other dates. Temari spent most of free time by Naruto's side. They were nearly inseparable, much to the other girls' jealousy. But today was the day Shukaku was to be sealed back inside Gaara, and tensions were high. Temari and Kankuro had strongly opposed the idea at first. However, after a talk with Gaara, and some reassuring from the Naruto, the other 2 Sand siblings were on board with the idea. Naruto and Gaara stood outside a set of massive doors. Behind them Shukaku was waiting to be sealed inside his former Jinchuriki. Are you ready? Naruto asked as he placed a hand on Gaara's shoulder. As ready as I'll ever be. Gaara said with a nod, but he still seemed nervous. Naruto quickly pulled Gaara into a hug, surprising the young Kazekage. I'm so scared Naruto. Gaara said as he held Naruto tightly. You'll be fine Gaara, I know it. Naruto said as he patted Gaara's back. A few tears escaped Gaara's eyes as Naruto tightened his hold. After a few moments Naruto released Gaara. The Kazekage quickly wiped his tears and turned to the massive doors. Gaara took a deep breath and steeled himself for what he was about to do. Well, here goes nothing, Gaara said as he pushed open the doors. Naruto saw the one-tailed Biju sitting in the room through a crack in the door. Hello Shukaku, Gaara said as the door closed behind him. Several hours passed as Naruto waited outside the room. He heard Gaara yell out in pain several times, but there was nothing he could do. The sealing ceremony required absolute silence and concentration. So Naruto was forced to wait outside the doors. All of his teammates came at one time or another to talk to him, and take his mind off worrying about Gaara. While Naruto stood outside the door silently talking with Temari, one massive door opened. Naruto and Temari turned to see an exhausted Gaara being supported by a guard. Gaara! Naruto and Temari yelled out as they ran towards the Kazekage. Stop! The guard said, causing Naruto and Temari to stop in their tracks. Please don't touch Kazekage-sama, he is very weak right now. It's a light, Gaara said as he raised his head slowly. Gaara, are you alright? Temari asked as she took her younger brother from the guard. Yes, I'm fine Temari, just exhausted. Gaara said weakly. So did it work? Naruto asked as he supported Gaara on his right side, while Temari supported his left. Yeah, it worked, Gaara said as he offered them a small smile. Me and Shukaku got a lot of making up to do. Just imagine how strong you'll be once you and Shukaku learn how to work together, Naruto said with a grin. Once you and Shukaku become a team, come find me, and we'll have another spar. But this time we'll both have our Biju to back us up. Why you're on, Gaara said as he closed his eyes and passed out. 2 days later Naruto's team was ready to leave Suna and head towards their next destination. Gaara, Temari and Kankuro met the group at the village entrance to see them off. Gaara was still fairly weak from the ceiling, so he was using a cane to help him stand. Well, it's been fun, Naruto said with his usual foxy grin. Yes, it sure has been interesting, Gaara said with a smile. Don't get into too much trouble, Kankuro said with a cocky grin. I won't make any promises, Naruto said, returning the grin. I had an amazing time, Naruto, Temari said as she hugged Naruto. Me to Temari-chan, Naruto said with a sad smile. He was gonna really miss his desert rose. Well, we best be off, Naruto said as he hoisted his backpack over his shoulder. With a few finals waves Naruto's team started walking down the path exiting the village. When Naruto's group was out of sight, Temari bit her bottom lip as she gazed off into the direction Naruto had went. Gaara sighed as he watched his older sister. Go after him, Gaara said suddenly. What? Temari said as she turned to face her younger brother. Go after your man, Gaara said with a smile. I know you want to. Temari smiled brightly as she hugged Gaara tightly, causing much pain to the cage. Thank you, Gaara, I promise I'll be safe, Temari said as she released Gaara and turned to Kankuro. The puppet user had a frown on his face as he looked at his sister. That bastard better protect you, or so help me. Kankuro was silenced when he felt Temari wrap her arms around him. I'll be fine, Kankuro, Temari said before she tightened her grip around Kankuro, making him gasp in pain. Plus I can take care of myself. Temari released Kankuro and looked at both her brothers. I love both you guys, Temari said before she took off after Naruto. Naruto's group wasn't very far from the village. Tenten turned to Naruto lagging behind the rest of the group. She saw the look of sadness on his face. What's wrong, Naruto? Tenten asked as she started to walk next to him. I miss Temari-chan, Naruto said as he stared into the cloudless sky. I hate to admit it, but I actually kinda miss her too, Tenten admitted with a sigh. I wish she had come with us, Naruto said in a sad tone. Well, your wish is granted. Naruto and Tenten spun around to see Temari behind them. Temari-chan, Naruto said in an excited tone, causing everyone else to turn around. What are you doing here, Temari? Tenten asked, surprised by her presence. Gaara let me go with you guys, Temari said as a blush spread across her face. I want to explore these feelings I have for you, Naruto. Well then, welcome aboard, Temari-chan, Naruto said with a massive smile. Again they both started to get lost in each other's eyes. Don't puss out this time, Kurama muttered out from inside Naruto's head. This time there was no interruption when Naruto captured Temari's lips with his own. It wasn't a very long kiss, but it was a very passionate one. When they both parted, Temari had a dreamy look on her face. Wow. Temari breathed out in a dazed tone. Come on, Temari-chan, let's head out, Naruto said as he wrapped his arm around Temari's waist. The Suna Kunoichi had a huge smile on her face as they walked through the desert. So where are we going next, Naruto? Enko asked as she walked up next to Naruto and Temari. Well, we're making a slight detour, Naruto said, getting confused looks from everyone. What do you mean detour? Konan asked in a confused tone. Naruto turned his head and smiled at Enko. We're heading to Oto, and we're getting that curse mark off you for good. Naruto's team was staying at a small inn about a half-day's travel from Otogakure. Each member of the team was assigned a room, so they could relax and rest before they arrived in Oto. Currently Sakura was sitting on her bed with Naruto's head pressed against her stomach. Okay Naruto, I get that you're excited, but this is getting ridiculous, Sakura said with a hint of annoyance in her voice. But Sakura-chan, our kids are in here, Naruto whined as he rubbed Sakura's slightly distended stomach. Naruto, you've been like this for almost a half hour. Go for a walk, figure out what we're gonna do once we get to Oto, just do something else, Sakura exclaimed in an angry tone. Kami, her mood swings are getting worse, Naruto muttered under his breath as he stood up. What was that? Sakura roared as she slammed her fist into the top of Naruto's head. Naruto groaned before he fell to the floor in a heap from the force of Sakura's punch. Sakura let out a surprised gasp, before she was instantly at Naruto's side healing his injuries. I'm so sorry Naruto-kun, Sakura exclaimed as tears fell from her eyes. Please forgive me. Suddenly Naruto felt Sakura's arms wrap around him, as she pulled him into a tight hug. I have to deal with this for 8 more months, Naruto thought as Sakura cried into his shoulder. And it's not just Sakura, this is gonna happen to the rest of the girls too. Oh Kami, please take me now. Naruto thought with a groan, before he started to comfort Sakura. You hate me now, don't you? Sakura cried, causing Naruto to let out a long groan. After nearly 20 minutes Sakura had finally calmed down, allowing Naruto time to slip out of the room. Naruto decided that Sakura was right, so he decided to go for a walk. He quickly informed the rest of his team, minus Anko who he couldn't find, before he walked out of the inn. The sun was about to set, and the weather was nice as he walked through the forest surrounding the inn. Naruto allowed the peace and quiet of the forest surround him, as he walked in silence. But he stopped in his tracks when he sensed a chakra signature nearby. Looking up, Naruto spotted Anko sitting on tree branch above him. He saw that she had her head in her hands, as she looked off into the horizon. Deciding to check up on her, Naruto quickly pumped chakra into his legs and jumped up to the branch Anko was on. Hey Anko-chan, Naruto said, flashing her a bright grin. Anko turned her head and gave Naruto a small smile. Oh hey Gaki, Anko said softly as she scooted over a little, allowing Naruto to sit next to her. So what's on your mind? Naruto asked as he wrapped an arm around Anko's waist, pulling her closer to him. Anko reached a hand up, and subconsciously rubbed the curse mark on her neck. She bit her bottom lip, as she debated whether to tell Naruto or not. After a few moments she took a deep breath and spoke. Are you sure it's a good idea to go to Oto? Anko asked, earning a chuckle from Naruto. Of course, Naruto exclaimed, surprising Anko. We're only gonna be there for a little while, and if they try anything funny we can handle any shit they throw at us. Plus we're doing this for you Anko-chan. Once we do this you can finally start to put your past behind you. It's just that I'm a little nervous about seeing Orochimaru. Anko said, making Naruto pull her even closer. You have nothing to worry about Anko-chan. Me and the rest of the team will be there for you the entire time. If that snake Tem does anything suspicious, we'll end him so quick he won't have time to blink. Anko smiled before she rested her head against Naruto's shoulder, letting out a content sigh. They sat and watched as the sun set in the distance. Before too long Naruto could hear light snores. He turned his head to see that Anko was asleep. He smiled as he picked her up, and carried her back to the inn. They had a big day tomorrow, and everyone needed to be well rested. The next day, after walking for almost 5 hours, the group stood before the rusted and worn gates of Oto. Naruto scanned the battered walls for any possible threats. Suddenly Shisui pulled out his sword, his Sharingan activated, as he quickly deflecting 2 incoming kunai. Who's there? Show yourself, Naruto yelled. At least 30 Oto shinobi suddenly jumped out and surrounded Naruto's team. You're trespassing, I advise you leave now. An Oto shinobi said in a low tone. Please let us pass, I just wish to speak with Orochimaru. Naruto said as he took a step forward. No one is allowed to see Orochimaru-sama. Now again, leave at once, or we'll force you to leave. The Oto shinobi replied as he pulled out a kunai. Either you let me in now, or I'll beat all of your asses and find the Tem myself. Naruto said as his body was surrounded by golden chakra. Wait a second, why you're Naruto Uzumaki? The Oto shinobi exclaimed as he took a step back. You're the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. I've read all your files. All the other Oto shinobi gasped, and took a step back as well. They all lowered their weapons, and shot each other worried glances. Hey, open the gates. One of the Oto shinobi yelled out. A low groaning sound was heard as the rusted gates slowly opened up. We'll alert Orochimaru-sama to your presence. You will find him in the large building in the center of the village. An Oto at the gate pointed out. Arigato, Naruto replied as he led his team through the gates, the doors slowly closing behind him. Just please don't destroy our village. The Oto nin said in a frightened tone. Naruto turned towards the frightened shinobi, and flashed him a grin. Don't try anything stupid, and I won't have a reason to wipe this place off the map. With that Naruto turned around, and started walking towards the building Orochimaru was in. Leaving the Oto nin to literally shake in fear. As they walked through the village, the group took notice of the village's run-down condition. The buildings were worn down, and looked like they were ready to collapse. Many buildings looked abandoned, the only sign of life in the village was the occasional person walking in the street, or light in a window. As they passed one building in particular, Sakura stopped dead in her tracks. "What is it, Sakura-chan?" Naruto asked when he saw Sakura stop. "Is that the hospital?" Sakura asked as she looked at the disgusting building. The only proof that it was a hospital was a worn sign above the doors. Sakura clenched her fists, and started walking towards the building. "Where are you going, Sakura?" Ino asked as she reached and grabbed Sakura's shoulder. "I have to do something about this. That building is deplorable, who knows what kind of conditions the patients are in. So I'm going to offer them my assistance." Ino turned to look at Naruto, he simply nodded at her. With a sigh, Ino released Sakura's shoulder. The Pinkett walked towards the doors, and with a deep breath she pulled them open. She was surprised when the door nearly came off its hinges. "This is gonna be a lot of work," Sakura thought with a sigh as she entered the hospital. "Well, she's got a rough job ahead of her," Tenten remarked as they continued their trek through the village. Sakura-chan can handle it," Naruto said as he rounded a corner. Naruto went wide-eyed when he ran right into someone. "Hey, watch where you're going, pal," Naruto said as he rubbed his head. "Where is she? I heard she might be here," the man Naruto had run into said frantically. "Hey, calm down, man, who are you looking for?" Naruto asked as he grabbed the man's shoulders. The man's eyes scanned Naruto's group. When he saw Ino he gasped, and pointed at her. "You're a Yamanaka, right?" the man said as he squirmed out of Naruto's grasp and ran over to Ino. "Why, yeah," Ino replied, feeling slightly uncomfortable. "Can you use your family's mind-walking techniques?" "Of course," Ino said in a confused tone. "Then you have to help us," the man said as he grabbed Ino's hand. "We have several people too traumatized to speak. With your mind-walking capabilities we might be able to find out what's wrong with them, and help them." Ino was resisting as the man tugged on her arm. "Please, we need your help," the man pleaded, looking into Ino's eyes. Ino could see the desperation in the man's eyes. She broke the man's gaze and sighed. "Fine, I'll help. Thank you so much," the man said as he once again took Ino's hand. "Hold on a second," the man turned to see Naruto glaring at him. "Please sir, we don't have time." "I don't care, you don't just run up to my team and take one of my girls," Naruto said as he turned to Choji and Hinata. "You two go with them, and make sure this guy doesn't try anything." "Of course, Naruto-kun. Sure thing," Choji said as Hinata walked up to Ino. "Alright, let's go, and don't do anything stupid." "Of course, now let's go," the man said as he led Choji, Hinata, and Ino down the road. "Alright team, let's get going, we're almost at the building," Naruto said as his team continued their trek through the village. As they neared the building Orochimaru was in, the village's conditions seemed to improve slightly. Even though the conditions were improved, this portion of the village could be compared to the slums of any other village. Just before the group reached their intended building, Konan suddenly stopped. Off to her left was a group of children who appeared to be begging on the street. Konan's heart ached when she saw the children. They reminded her of Yahiko, Nagato, and herself when they were younger. When Konan started to walk towards the children, Ryuzetsu stopped her. "Hey, where are you going?" "Those children," Konan replied as she gestured towards the kids. "I want to help them, brighten their day up." Ryuzetsu turned her gaze towards the children, and her eyes softened. "Okay, but I want to help too," Ryuzetsu said, causing Konan to smile. "Arigato, Ryuzetsu. Hey, where are you two going?" Tenten asked when she noticed Ryuzetsu and Konan walking off. "We're going to help those children," Konan replied. "How are you going to help those kids?" Tenten asked as she walked over to Konan and Ryuzetsu. "Well, I was planning on making them origami figures to play with," Konan said with a small smile. "Yeah, and I was gonna use my Kaden, Onodoro, to put on a little show," Ryuzetsu said, causing Tenten to rub her chin while she thought. "Well, in that case, I'm in," Tenten suddenly said, surprising both girls. "What?" they both replied in unison. "Hey, I can show them some cool tricks with some of my weapons, that should put a smile on their faces," Tenten said with a wide grin. While the girls talked, Naruto walked over to Sai. "Hey Sai, I want you to go with those three, and help them out." "Me?" said asked as he pointed to himself. What do you want me to do? Help them out with entertaining those kids. You can use your paintings to give those kids something to play with. Naruto said, causing Sai to get a nervous look in his eyes. I'm not very good with children. Sai nervously as he turned red in embarrassment. You'll be fine, Sai, the other girls will be there with you. So just follow their lead and help them keep those kids entertained. Naruto said as he placed a hand on Sai's shoulder. Plus I want you there to keep an eye on them. Sai took a deep breath and nodded. Alright Naruto, I'll do it. Sai said as he gave Naruto a soft smile. Thanks man, Naruto said as he patted Sai on the shoulder. With a quick wave Sai left to join the 3 other girls in entertaining the children. Okay, who's left? Naruto asked himself as he looked over his remaining group. Okay, Anko-chan, Temari-chan, Shisui, let's head inside. Hi. All 3 of them replied as they entered the building. After asking around they eventually learned which room Orochimaru was in. The 4-man group now stood outside a set of double doors. Taking a deep breath, Anko stepped forward and knocked on the door. There was the sound hushed whispers, and opening and closing of drawers before a voice called out from behind the doors. Yes, who is it? A voice that could only belong to Orochimaru asked. It's Naruto Uzumaki, I wished to speak with you for about something. One of your men should have told you I was coming. Naruto asked as he took a step towards the door. Yes, Naruto-kun, please come in. Naruto reached out and slowly opened the door. Inside he saw Orochimaru sitting at a large desk, with Kabuto standing to his left. Naruto cringed slightly when he saw Kabuto, and Orochimaru still looked creepy as ever. Please take a seat, Orochimaru said as he gestured to some chairs in front of his desk. While Naruto's group was sitting in their seats, Orochimaru quickly scanned over the group. He had no idea who the blonde-haired Kunoichi, but she did have a Suna headband tied around her head. Orochimaru smirked slightly when he saw Anko, but when he saw the dark-haired shinobi he nearly gasped. The snake Sanin noticed the Uchiha clan symbol on the back of the shinobi's shirt, as he turned to sit in his seat. Wait, I thought Sasuke-kun was the last Uchiha, and he died a few months ago. Who is this man? Orochimaru thought as he eyed Shisui. So to what do I owe this pleasure, Naruto-kun? Orochimaru asked with a creepy smile on his face. Temari cringed when she saw Orochimaru's long tongue quickly dart. This is Orochimaru. He seriously gives me the fucking creeps. Temari thought as Orochimaru's gaze landed on her, making a shudder shoot through her body. I'm actually here to ask you a favor. Naruto said, causing Orochimaru to raise a brow. Oh, and what would that be? Orochimaru asked as he leaned back in his chair. Naruto shot a quick glance at Anko before he spoke. I want you to remove the curse mark on Anko. But why? It can't be activated anymore, so why bother coming all the way here to get rid of it? Orochimaru asked as he leaned forward. It's just a constant reminder of her past. Anko-chan wants to put all that behind her, and move on with her life. Naruto said as he shot Anko another quick look. So it's Anko-chan, huh? Very interesting. Orochimaru thought as he saw Naruto give Anko a loving look. Alright, I'll do it. Orochimaru as he closed his eyes and leaned back in his chair. What? You will? Anko asked in a surprised tone. Are you sure about this, Orochimaru-sama? Kabuto asked as he turned to look at his master. Of course. Think of it as a gesture of good faith between Oto and Konoha. Orochimaru said with a grin. So no strings attached. You're just gonna help us out, without asking for anything in return. Shisui asked with narrowed eyes. And who might you be? Orochimaru asked, turning his head to look at Shisui. Who I am is of little importance, now answer the question. Shisui asked as reached to grasp the hilt of his sword. Oh, but who you are is very important, Uchiha. Orochimaru said as he narrowed his own eyes. The room became tense as Orochimaru and Shisui glared at each other. Naruto-kun, do you mind explaining to me why there is an Uchiha in my office? I thought Sasuke-kun was the last Uchiha after Itachi and Obito died, but it appears I was wrong. Orochimaru shifted his gaze from Shisui to Naruto. Naruto started sweating as he glanced at Temari and Anko. He had told Temari about his Rinnegan, and his ability to bring back the dead on the trip to Oto. But Naruto knew that telling Orochimaru would be a bad idea. However, he couldn't really see any other way around it, so taking a deep breath he started speaking. If I explain the situation to you, will you remove Anko's curse mark? Orochimaru closed his eyes and rubbed his chin as he thought. That is agreeable, now explain. Orochimaru said as narrowed his eyes at Naruto. Taking another deep breath, Naruto channeled chakra into his left eye. When he opened his eyes, Orochimaru and Kabuto gasped when they saw his blue Tomo Rinnegan. Why you have the Rinnegan? Kabuto stuttered out in complete shock. Well, it's not exactly my Rinnegan. Naruto said, confusing Orochimaru. What do you mean? This was originally Sasuke's Rinnegan. But when I killed him, I had Kakashi-sensei transplant Sasuke's Rinnegan into my left eye. I used the Rinnegan to undo the infinite Tsukuyomi, and I also used Rinne Rebirth to bring back those who died in the war. Naruto said, earning shocked looks from Orochimaru and Kabuto. So that explains him. Orochimaru said as he turned to Shisui. Are you satisfied now? Naruto asked in a slightly irritated tone. Quite. Orochimaru said with a crooked smile. So can you remove Anko-chan's curse mark? Naruto asked, causing Anko to perk up slightly. I don't know, I think I may want some sort of compensation. Orochimaru said with a grin. The air in the room became tense again, as Naruto and Orochimaru stared at each other. Fine what? Naruto was cut off when Temari stood up and slammed her hands on the desk. Listen here you snake Temari said in a low growl, shocking Orochimaru. You said after Naruto explained everything to you, that you'd get rid of Anko's curse mark. Now are you gonna honor that agreement, or are we gonna have to force you to comply? For emphasis, Temari rested a hand on top of her fan. I think I'm in love. Naruto thought as he stared at Temari with dreamy eyes. Orochimaru and Temari stared each other down for a few moments. But eventually Orochimaru let out a sigh. Alright, I'll remove her curse mark. Orochimaru said, shocking Kabuto. But Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto was surprised when Orochimaru turned them around, and started to whisper in his ear. We have to be careful. These brats could easily wipe out the village if we're not careful. Orochimaru then turned to look at Naruto. Especially Naruto, if we upset him he could probably level half the village with one attack. You saw just how powerful he is. So we just help them with this one thing, then they leave. Kabuto simply nodded as they turned back around. We'll help you this one time, Orochimaru said as he sat back down in his seat. Like I said earlier, consider this a gesture of good faith. The jutsu to remove the curse mark will take several hours. Also I will need complete isolation, just me and Anko. Naruto narrowed his eyes when he heard this. Oh, don't be like that, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru said with a slight laugh. I will not do anything to Anko. How do I know that I can trust you? Naruto asked in a low growl. Because I know what you're capable of doing, and I'd rather not have my village be wiped off the map. Orochimaru said, calming Naruto down. Alright, I'll trust you, Naruto said, making Orochimaru smile. But that smile was erased when Naruto stood up. But I swear to Kami if I suspect, even for a second, that you're hurting Anko-chan. Naruto closed and opened his eyes, revealing his Rinnegan. I will tear you limb from limb, then I will burn this village to the ground. Am I making myself clear? Naruto's icy tone literally froze Kabuto and Orochimaru in their places. Well, do you understand? Or do you want a demonstration of what I'll do to you if you cross me? Naruto asked, knocking Orochimaru out of his stupor. Oh, of course not, and Naruto-kun, we understand perfectly. Orochimaru said with fear in his voice. Good, Naruto said as he turned to Shisui and Temari. Alright you two, let's head out, and let Orochimaru get to work. While Orochimaru was preparing the jutsu to remove Anko's curse mark, Naruto decided to check up on his team, while he waited. First he went back to the rundown hospital to check up on Sakura. When Naruto arrived at the hospital he was surprised to see over a dozen people frantically repairing parts of the hospital. Excuse me, but what's going on? Naruto asked a man that was hurrying past him. Some pink-haired demon woman just barged in here and started ordering us around. She's been working us to the bone for the past hour. The man said before he continued walking past Naruto. Naruto chuckled as he walked past the bustling workers. Well, he isn't exactly wrong. Sakura-chan can be fucking scary when she's upset. Naruto thought as he walked through the hospital doors, which were now fixed and opened properly. As Naruto walked through the halls he spotted doctors and nurses frantically rushing around. He spotted a nurse walking towards him, so he decided to ask her where Sakura was. "Miss, where might I find Sakura Haruno?" At the mention of Sakura's name the woman gasped. "Sir, you don't want to see that woman, she'll rip you to shreds." The woman replied, making Naruto chuckle. "It's alright, I'm her boyfriend." "Then you're one tough bastard, if you can handle that monster." "Alright, that's enough, can you just tell me where Sakura-chan is?" Naruto asked in an irritated tone. "She's down the hall, last door on the right," the nurse said, pointing down the hall. "It's your funeral though." With that the nurse continued walking past Naruto. Shooting a quick glare at the woman, Naruto started to walk down the hall. When Naruto neared the room Sakura was in, a doctor came running out of the room, a clipboard quickly flying past the doorway he had run out of. "Gah. Who the fuck taught you people medicine? You're all hopeless." A voice that could only belong to Sakura screamed out. Naruto sighed and entered the room. He quickly spotted Sakura sitting at a desk. She appeared to be going through a stack of medical reports. Naruto cleared his throat to get her attention. "What do you idiots want now?" "Oh hello Naruto-kun," Sakura said in a cheery tone, her mood doing a complete 180. How's it going Sakura-chan?" Naruto asked with a sweat drop. "Oh, everything's going just great here," Sakura said in a happy tone with a smile on her face. "Geez, her mood swings are getting worse," Naruto thought as he sweat dropped again. "Are you sure about that? It sounded like you were pretty upset a moment ago," Naruto said as he walked up her and rested a hand on her shoulder. Sakura let out a long sigh, as she rested her heads in her hands. "I don't know what to do, Naruto. These people don't know what the hell they're doing. I managed to get some improvements rolling, but this place still has a long way to go. I mean, for Kami's sake, half the staff don't even know how to administer shots, or draw blood," Sakura said as she returned to looking at the medical reports. "Some of these patients haven't been helped in days. I've been working non-stop since I stepped foot in this hospital." Naruto chuckled and kissed the top of her head. "You've done an amazing job already Sakura-chan, I can already tell the place is improving," Naruto said, earning a smile from Sakura. "I'll tell you what, you keep up your work here, and when we leave I'll send a message to Kakashi-sensei. I'll try to have him send some medic nin here to train these doctors, and improve this hospital." Sakura immediately stood up and hugged Naruto. "Oh thank you Naruto," Sakura said as she hugged her blonde baka tightly. "Keep up the good work here, I have to go check up on the rest of the team," Naruto said as he planted a kiss on Sakura's forehead. Sakura sighed happily and blushed slightly as Naruto walked out the door. After checking up on Sakura, Naruto went in search of Ino, Choji, and Hinata. Asking around, Naruto eventually found the building the three of them were in. He read the sign out front, and found out that building was a mental trauma center. Walking inside, the blonde Jinchuriki quickly spotted what looked like a reception desk, with a man organizing papers sitting there. Excuse me," Naruto said, gaining the man's attention. "Do you know where I might be able to find Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akamichi, and Hinata Hyuga?" "They're through those double doors, first room on the left," the man quickly replied before he went back to organizing his papers. "Thanks," Naruto said happily before he walked through the double doors. Spotting the room, Naruto walked inside. Naruto immediately spotted Choji standing in front of a large window looking into a room. Looking past Choji, Naruto spotted Ino. She had her hand to a man's head, with her eyes close in concentration. "Hey Choji, what's going on?" Naruto asked as he walked up to stand next to Choji. "Oh hey Naruto," Choji said in a slightly surprised tone. "I've just been watching over Ino as she helped some of the patients." "Where's Hinata?" Naruto asked, not spotting her anywhere. "Oh, she stepped out for a minute to get something to eat, she should be back soon." "So can she hear or see us?" Naruto asked as he gestured towards the glass. "No, this is a one-way mirror. We can see in, but those inside can't see out." Naruto simply nodded in understanding. "So when do you think she'll be done?" "She should be finished soon," Choji said just as Ino's eyes opened. The man immediately collapsed into Ino's arms. She quickly set him down in a chair, and started to walk out of the room. Ino sighed and wiped the sweat from her brow, as she walked through the door. "Man, that was the worst one yet," Ino said as she entered the room Naruto and Choji were in. "Hey Ino-chan," Naruto said as he flashed her a grin. "Oh hey Naruto, what are you doing here?" Ino asked as Naruto walked up, pecked Ino on the lip, causing her to blush slightly. "I came to check up on the team, while I wait for Orochimaru to finish performing his jutsu on Anko." Naruto led Ino over to a table in the room, and sat her down. She sunk into the chair, and let out a sigh. "So how's it been going so far?" Naruto asked as he took a seat across from Ino. Ino raised her head, and Naruto was surprised to see her eyes full of sadness. "Some of these people have seen some seriously messed up shit," Ino said as all the memories flashed before her eyes. "One of the people I did a mind walk on was a little boy, he couldn't have been more than 8. The doctors explained to me that he hasn't talked in over a year, and they told me he often screams and cries in his sleep. When the doctors went to get him, he was sitting on his bed rocking back and forth. His eyes were lifeless and glazed over." Ino took a shaky breath before she continued. "They brought him into that room I was just in, and I performed a mind walk on him. After searching around, I finally found a memory that was most likely the cause of his trauma." Ino said, but before she could continue talking, tears started to fall uncontrollably from her eyes. Naruto quickly stood up and hugged Ino to his chest. Ino's sobs started to fill the room, as she cried into Naruto's chest. "SSH, it's alright Ino, you don't have to tell me if it's too painful, you don't have to tell me," Naruto said soothingly as he stroked Ino's head. Ino sniffled a few times before she wiped her tears away. No, it's fine. It will be good for me to talk about what I saw," Ino said as she took another shaky breath. The memory couldn't have been more than a year and a half ago. The kid was out playing with his friends, in the small village he lived in. After playing all day, the kid started to walk home. But when the kid neared his house, he noticed smoke rising up ahead, so he ran the rest of the way home. When he got to his house, he hid in the bushes and watched, as 3 rogue shinobi murdered his family. Naruto's eyes went wide when he heard this. The rogue shinobi were upset, because the kid's family wouldn't hide them. So, they. Kami, it was so terrible, Naruto. Naruto pulled Ino closer as he continued to comfort her. After a few moments, Ino started speaking again. Naruto, those men burned that kid's family alive," Ino said, making Naruto gasp. He had to listen their screams of agony, and watch as their skin burned to crisp. At this point Ino started to gag, as the images started to flood her mind again. Naruto was sick to his stomach as well. What the hell is wrong with people? Naruto thought as Aur clutched a hand to his churning stomach. Then that guy the first just worked on had it just as bad, Ino said as she regained composure. He was forced to watch as his wife and daughter were raped, then murdered right in front of him. I mean, these thugs just burst into this guy's home, and beat the shit out of him. Then they force him to watch as they torture and rape his family for hours. Then after that they just slit the wife and daughter's throats, and walked out of the house as if nothing had happened. All because the man didn't pay the thug's boss on time. Again Ino started to gag as the memories started to fill her head. Alright Ino, that's enough, please no more, Naruto said with tears flowing from his eyes. Kami, what is wrong with this world? Ino cried into Naruto's shoulder. I don't know, but I'll do my best to change this world, Naruto said as he held Ino tightly. They stayed like this for a while. Naruto just simply held Ino close as she sobbed into his chest. You should rest before you do this anymore, Naruto said, causing Ino to nod against his chest. I'm gonna go check up the rest of the team. You stay here and rest, and try not to dwell on the things you saw. Ino simply nodded and rested her head in arms, as she laid her head on the table. When Naruto exited the room, he spotted Choji walking towards him with a cup of coffee. Hey Choji, I'm heading out to check on the rest of team, Naruto said, earning a quick nod from Choji. But before the Akamichi could walk past, Naruto quickly grabbed his arm. Please watch over Ino carefully, she's not in good shape right now. She saw some real messed up shit in those people's heads. So try to comfort her or something, get her anything she needs. Sure thing Naruto, Ino's one of my best friends, so I'm happy to help her, Choji said in a soft voice. Thanks Choji, Naruto said as he gave Choji a quick pat on the shoulder before he walked out of Trauma Center. After the incident with Ino, Naruto went in search of Konan, Ryuzetsu, Tenten, and Sai. He eventually found them not too far from the building Orochimaru and Anko were in. They were in what appeared to be an old playground. Instead of running in, Naruto opted to sit on a nearby rooftop and watch his team entertain the children. There was a much larger group of children than before. There was at least over a dozen kids crowded around Naruto's teammates. Konan was making intricate origami figures for the children to play with. She made animal, dolls, shuriken, swords, or anything the children asked for. Every time a child ran up to her, Konan would simply smile and form whatever the child requested. Naruto smiled as he watched the children run around and play with Konan's paper creations. Naruto then turned his head to see Ryuzetsu weaving hand signs. Suddenly several balls of fire appeared around Ryuzetsu. The children watched in awe as the fire flew through the air around the white-haired Kunoichi. After a few moments the fire balls started to form shapes and patterns in the sky, causing the children to clap and cheer. Next Naruto spotted a group of children gathered around Tenten. She appeared to be performing tricks with some of her weapons. Currently she was blindfolded and throwing kunai and shuriken at targets on the wall. Each throw landed with a perfect bullseye, making the children stare in awe. Tenten pulled off her blindfold and grinned as she pulled out a scroll from her backpack. There was a poof of smoke, as a pile of toy weapons appeared. The children all let out a loud cheer as they each grabbed a weapon and started to mock fight with each other. Lastly Naruto spotted Sai with a slightly smaller group of children around him. The pale boy seemed rather flustered as the children ran up to him, and made requests for him to draw. Eventually the children started playing a game where they had to catch various ink animals drawn by Sai. Naruto couldn't help but notice that Sai had a smile on his face, as he watched the children run after a group of ink rabbits. Suddenly Sai turned around and spotted Naruto on the roof. Naruto for the first time saw Sai grin, as he waved at him. The blonde shinobi smiled and waved back before he disappeared off the roof. After checking up on the rest of his team, Naruto returned to the building Orochimaru was in. When he reached the double doors leading to Orochimaru's office, he was surprised to see Shisui sitting in a chair outside the room. The Uchiha had his eyes closed, as he appeared to be in deep thought. "Hey Shisui," Naruto said, getting the boy's attention. "What are you doing here?" "I've been sitting here, to make sure Orochimaru doesn't try anything," Shisui said as he adjusted himself in the seat. "I just have a feeling, like that guy is hiding something from us." "I know, I got the same feeling too. Something just isn't right here," Naruto said as he sat next to Shisui. "Hey, why don't you do a little digging around, and I'll stay here?" Shisui looked at Naruto for a moment before he nodded. The Uchiha stood and teleported out of the room, leaving Naruto alone in front of the door. For almost an hour Naruto sat in front of the door, and he was starting to get anxious. Suddenly Temari walked in the room and sat next to Naruto. She quickly noticed anxiousness when she saw him rapidly tapping his foot. "So where were you?" Naruto asked as he turned his head to look at Temari. "I was just exploring this village, and man does this place need some serious work," Temari said as she sunk into her seat. Naruto merely nodded in agreement, and returned to tapping his foot. "Getting a little impatient, aren't we?" Temari asked with a giggle. "Yeah, I hate sitting still for long periods of time. Plus I've got a million things on my mind right now," Naruto said as he pinched the bridge of his nose. "I might have a way for you to relax," Temari said in a husky tone. "Oh yeah, what Naruto was cut off as Temari pressed her lips onto his. Naruto was caught off guard by the kiss, so Temari quickly took control. Getting out of her seat, Temari moved to sit in Naruto's lap, as she pushed her tongue into Naruto's mouth. Regaining his senses, Naruto immediately started to kiss back with the same intensity Temari was using. Suddenly Temari removed her lips from Naruto's and started to kiss his neck, as she ran her hands up and down his body. She let out a short moan as her hands ran over Naruto's muscular chest. Wait Temari-chan, we can't do this right now," Naruto said, trying desperately to hold back a moan. "Relax, we'll stop right away if you sense anything is up," Temari said as she started to kiss Naruto again. Breaking the kiss, Naruto looked into Temari's lust-filled blue eyes. "All right Temari-chan, but not here. Let's try to find somewhere a little more private," Naruto said as he took Temari's hand and stood up. The pair walked through the halls, trying to find a room with some privacy. Eventually they found another set of double doors. Slowly opening the door, Naruto poked his head in. He was surprised to see that it was a bedroom. Fully opening the door, Naruto led Temari inside. The room was fairly large, and very well decorated with a large bed near the back of the room. This must be Orochimaru's room, Naruto said as he looked a picture on drawer. It was a picture of Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru when they were genin. Naruto looked at the picture with a smile on his face. I guess he never truly cut his bonds with Konoha, Naruto thought as he remembered something. I wonder if he knows that Ero Sennin is alive. I'll tell him before we leave, Naruto thought as he placed the picture back down. As soon as Naruto turned around he felt Temari crash her lips to his. Quickly she led him towards the bed, and with a light push she was straddling him as they made out. Temari lemon scene. Naruto smiled when he saw 2 rings form on Temari's right arm. Welcome to the family, Temari-chan, Naruto said in a warm voice. Temari looked at the bands and smiled. She learned what they meant from the other girls and she couldn't be happier. I would say let's go for another round, but we need to head back, Naruto said, earning a sad nod from Temari. Come, let's get cleaned up, Naruto said with a grin as he led Temari towards the bathroom. But before they went in, Naruto whispered into Temari's ear. Maybe we could go again real quick. Temari squealed happily when Naruto picked her up and carried her into the bathroom. After getting dirtier first, Naruto and Temari eventually cleaned up. They returned to Orochimaru's office to see everyone sitting outside the door. Well, look who decided to show up, Tenten said with a smirk. But Tenten's eyes widened when she saw the mate mark on Temari's arm. No you didn't, Tenten yelled out as she ran up to a flustered Temari. Tenten quickly dragged Temari off towards the other girls. Naruto's sweat dropped as she watched the other girls crowd a blushing Temari, and bombard her with questions. Where were you, man? Choji asked, causing Naruto's face to burn red. I'll tell you guys later, Naruto said as he moved to sit down. After waiting for another hour, one of the double doors suddenly opened. Naruto went wide-eyed when he saw Anko standing there. So did it work? Naruto asked excitedly as he stood up. Anko wordlessly turned around and pulled her collar down. A smile crossed everyone's face when they saw that the curse mark was no longer there. Anko turned around with tears in her eyes. I'm finally free, Anko breathed out. She suddenly found herself in Naruto's strong arms as he hugged her tightly. I can put my past behind me at last, Anko said as she cried softly into Naruto's shoulder. Anko was surprised when she felt another pair of arms around her. She turned her head to see the rest of the girls surrounding them in a group hug. We're so happy for you, Anko, Sakura said with a smile. I love all you guys, Anko said as continued softly sob. After a few more moments Anko had calmed. Naruto left his team for a moment, as he went to speak with Orochimaru. The Jinchuriki spotted Orochimaru speaking with Kabuto as he entered the office. Seeing Naruto enter the room, Orochimaru stopped his conversation and turned to face Naruto. What can I do for you, Naruto-kun, the snake Sannin said with a smile. I wanted to thank you for helping, Anko-chan, Naruto said as he bowed slightly. It was no problem, Naruto-kun. I was happy to help you. Well, me and team are gonna head out, Naruto said, earning a nod from Orochimaru. I was going to try and have Kakashi-sensei send a group of shinobi to help your village get on its feet, especially the hospital. I would greatly appreciate that, Orochimaru said with another smile. Naruto nodded and started to walk towards the door. But he stopped just before he grabbed the handles. One more thing, Naruto said, getting Orochimaru's attention. Jiraiya is alive, Orochimaru held in a gasp as he visibly tensed. What? I said Jiraiya is alive, Naruto said as he fully turned around. I suggest you try meet Tsunade Bachan and Jiraiya, and patch things. They both still care about you, and I know you still care about them. Your bond with them is the one thing you didn't sever with Konoha, Naruto said, making Orochimaru's eyes widen. Naruto then turned and opened the door. Just think about, it's important to have friends you can rely on, Naruto said as he walked out of the office. When Naruto walked out of the office, Orochimaru lowered his head with a thoughtful look on his face. Maybe he's right, Orochimaru thought as he eyed a piece of blank of paper on his desk. I guess I could at least write them, and see if they want to meet. Orochimaru smiled as he remembered his days when he was a genin. It would be nice to go back to the way things used to be. With that thought in mind, Orochimaru started to write to his old teammates. Several hours later, Orochimaru had finished his letter. He summoned a messenger hawk and sent the letter to Konoha. After the letter was sent, he sighed and walked to the wall at the back of his office. He pressed a hidden button, and the wall started to move, revealing a hidden lab. The snake Sannin spotted Kabuto going over readings. Kabuto turned around when he heard the wall slide open. "Oh, Orochimaru-sama, it's you," Kabuto said as he put the readings down on a table in front of him. Orochimaru nodded and walked past Kabuto. He stopped in front of a corpse on the ground. "Are you sure we should be doing this, Orochimaru-sama?" Kabuto asked as he eyed the corpse. "I thought you wanted to try and make amends with Konoha." "I do, Kabuto, but our forces are severely depleted. We just need slight boost in our defense for a little while. Just until we can recruit more shinobi to our forces." "Okay, Orochimaru-sama, I'm ready when you are." Orochimaru nodded and started to weave hand signs. Kuchiyos, Edo Tensai. The corpse started to morph and change shape, as it took on its new form. After a few moments, a new figure stood in front of Orochimaru and Kabuto. "Where am I, and why am I alive?" the figure asked as he looked at his hands. "Welcome back, Sasuke-kun," Orochimaru said, causing the Uchiha to raise his head. "Orochimaru," Sasuke said in a low tone as he gazed at his old teacher. "Then that means this in Edo Tensai," Sasuke said in an upset tone. "Yes, I apologize, Sasuke-kun. But we needed to bring you back, just for a little while so we could boost Oto's defenses," Orochimaru said, making Sasuke grind his teeth in anger. "So you intend to use me as a weapon until you can boost your forces?" Sasuke said in an angry tone. "Not exactly. You would be the last line of defense in case we were ever attacked. Once we have recruited more shinobi, we allow you to rest in peace," Orochimaru said, but he was surprised when Sasuke started chuckling. "You shouldn't have brought me back," Sasuke said in a dark tone, as he closed his eyes. What? Before Orochimaru or Kabuto could even react, Sasuke opened his eyes, revealing his Mangekyo Sharingan. Orochimaru and Kabuto were frozen place as they were caught in Sasuke's genjutsu. Sasuke smirked as he unsheathed his sword, and walked up to them. "This village will be the start of my revolution," Sasuke said as he raised his sword. With two swift swipes, Orochimaru and Kabuto's head were rolling on the floor. Sasuke's evil smirk grew as he walked towards the window. "Time to burn this village to the ground." With that, Sasuke activated his Susanoo and burst through the wall. The screams of the villagers could be heard for miles, as Sasuke cut down every villager he saw. In the dead of the night, Jugo was nearing Oto after a long mission away. But as he neared the village, he felt something was off. He noticed animals were running away from the village. Getting curious, Jugo picked up the pace, but when he finally saw the village gates, he gasped. The entire village was a mess of destroyed and still burning buildings. Jugo started sprinting through the streets, trying to find any survivors. But every person he came across was dead. All the bodies were either cut to pieces, or were burnt to a crisp. Jugo searched for hours, and found no survivors. He collapsed to his knees, and started weeping. He had just gotten his murderous temptations under control, and he was starting to make friends in the village. But now they were all done. Suddenly Jugo's head shot up. "I have to tell someone," Jugo said as he took off down the road towards Konoha. After running almost non-stop for nearly 3 days, Jugo finally spotted Konoha's gates. As soon as he walked through the gates, he collapsed. "Shit man, are you alright?" Kotetsu asked as he ran up to Jugo. Please, I need to see Hokage-sama, it's extremely urgent," Jugo wheezed out. Kotetsu looked at Izumo, who nodded. Both gate guards helped Jugo up, and carried him towards the Hokage Tower. 3 days later, Naruto's team was sitting around a small fire, eating lunch on their way towards their next destination. As they ate, Shisui looked up and spotted a messenger hawk circling overhead. "Hey, isn't that a Konoha messenger hawk?" he asked as he pointed towards the circling bird. Everyone stopped eating and looked up. "Yeah, it is," Naruto said as he stood up. The hawk swooped down and landed on Naruto's arm. Naruto gave the bird a treat as he took the message. When the bird flew off, Naruto opened the message. "What does it say, Naruto-kun?" Hinata asked. But everyone was shocked when they saw Naruto shaking. "Naruto, what is it?" Sakura asked, getting worried. Naruto dropped the message and fell to his knees. Oto has been wiped off the map. For dare, Konoha. Kakashi Hatake sighed as he sunk into his chair. It had been another uneventful day so far, and he was bored out his mind. The silver-haired Hokage would usually try to read a few pages of his prized Ika books. But ever since he had started dating Shizune, she had confiscated all of his books. She had threatened to burn them all if he attempted to find them. Turning his head, Kakashi gazed at the piles of paperwork on his desk. With a groan, Kakashi turned and looked at the clock on the wall. Might as well get some of this done before I head home, Kakashi said as he picked up a form and started to read it. But right before Kakashi could sign the paper, he heard a few knocks at the door. Enter, Kakashi said as he set the paper down. The door opened to reveal Karen and Itachi. Oh, hello Karen, Itachi, Kakashi said with an eye smile. What can I do for you two? I have some police reports for you, Itachi said as he handed Kakashi a manila envelope. And I have this week's patient files, Karen said as she handed Kakashi another envelope. I see, thank you both. But don't Obito and Rin usually bring these to me? Kakashi asked as he looked from Itachi to Karen. Both Karen and Itachi turned bright red. Obito and Rin are busy, Karen said with a massive blush across her face. Busy? With what? Kakashi asked, enjoying their embarrassment. You know they're busy, Karen said, putting extra emphasis on the word busy. I still don't follow, Kakashi said, pretending to be oblivious. What Karen is trying to say is that Obito and Rin are having sexual relations. So we had to fill in for them, Itachi said calmly, even thought his face was bright red. Ah, I see, Kakashi said as he tried to stifle his laughter. You knew the whole time, didn't you? Karen asked with a sweat drop. Of course, those two have been going at it like rabbits in heat for 2 weeks now, Kakashi said as he suddenly looked sick. I actually walked in on them, while they were in the heat of it. I saw absolutely everything. I had no idea Rin was so flexible, Kakashi said as a shudder ran through his body. Before either Karen or Itachi could say anything, the door burst open. Everyone's heads turned to see Izumo and Katetsu run into the room carrying an exhausted Jugo. Jugo! Karen screamed as she ran up to him. What the hell happened? I need tea to speak with Hokage-sama. Jugo wheezed out. Let me do a quick checkup first, Karen said as her hands started to glow green. Why, you learned medical and ninjutsu? Jugo said with a small smile. Well, I have to be of some use around here, Karen said as she returned the smile. Well, you seem fine, you're just extremely exhausted. Yes, I've been running for almost 3 days to get here, Jugo said as Izumo and Katetsu sat him down on a couch. Kakashi stood up from his seat and walked over to Jugo. Jugo, what did you want to tell me? Kakashi said as he stood in front of Jugo. Jugo looked at Kakashi, then to Karen. He took a deep breath before he spoke. I was returning to Oto from a mission, but when I neared the village I noticed that the animals were all running away from the village. So I took of running towards the village B, but when I got there, it was gone, Jugo said, making everyone go wide-eyed. What do you mean it was gone? Kakashi asked in a confused tone. All the building were burned to the ground, and there were bodies everywhere. I searched for hours, but I didn't find a single survivor. Every person I came across was either cut to pieces, or burned beyond all recognition, Jugo said as tears started to fall from his eyes. Kami, there were so many bodies, Karen gasped, and Kakashi and Itachi looked visibly shaken by this revelation. Suddenly Kakashi turned to Karen and Itachi. Itachi and Karen, I want you two to find Kiba and Shino, Kakashi said in his Hokage voice. Head to Oto and search for any leads that may shed some light on what happened. Hi, they both said, before they ran out of the room to prepare for their mission. When Karen and Itachi were gone, Kakashi turned back to Jugo. Jugo, you're free to stay here as long as you need, Kakashi said as he placed a hand on Jugo's shoulder. Thank you Hokage-sama, Jugo said as he wiped the tears from his eyes. Come on, you can stay at my place tonight, Kakashi said as he gave Jugo an eye smile. You're gonna love Shizune's cooking. Jugo gave Kakashi a small smile, as the Hokage led him out of the room. On the other side of the village, Jiraiya and Tsunade were sitting on a couch in Tsunade's home. Currently Jiraiya was massaging Tsunade's shoulders, earning a few moans of approval from the blonde. Jiraiya, you sure have magic fingers. Tsunade said as she felt all the tension leaving her aching muscles. These fingers can be used for a lot of things. Jiraiya said as he started to kiss Tsunade's neck. Keep it above the belt you old pervert. Tsunade said turning her head to give Jiraiya more access to her neck. But when Jiraiya's hands went to cup Tsunade's breasts, the blonde quickly swatted his hands away. You're not allowed to touch these yet. Tsunade said earning a pout from Jiraiya. I'm still pissed at you for spying on Naruto and Temari. Ah come on Harem, that was like almost 2 weeks ago. Jiraiya whined, but he stopped when Tsunade turned to glare at him. If you don't want to be sent flying across the village again, you will shut up and keep massaging. Tsunade snapped making Jiraiya nod rapidly. Sure thing Harem. Jiraiya replied as he continued to massage Tsunade's shoulders. A few minutes later a few knocks could be heard at Tsunade's front door. Answer the door, Tsunade ordered. Yes ma'am, Jiraiya said as he stood and walked to the door. When Jiraiya opened the door, he was surprised to see Konohamaru standing there. What can I do for you Gaki? Jiraiya asked earning a glare from the genin. I have a message for you and Tsunade Bachan. Konohamaru said as he handed Jiraiya an envelope. I heard that Gaki. Tsunade yelled from across the room, making Konohamaru shudder in fear. Who's it from? Jiraiya asked as he inspected the envelope. Don't know, I just know it came from Oto. Konohamaru replied as he adjusted his blue scarf. Oto, I wonder if it's from Orochimaru. Jiraiya said to himself as he opened the envelope. Oh you're free to go kid. Okay, see you around Aro Sennin. Konohamaru yelled as he took off. Naruto has really rubbed off on that kid. Jiraiya said with a sigh as he closed the door. So what did that Gaki want? Tsunade asked as Jiraiya sat back down. We got a letter from Oto. Jiraiya replied making Tsunade raise an eyebrow. Do you think it's Orochimaru? I don't know I haven't read it yet. Well then read it you baka. Jiraiya simply nodded. As he started to read the note his brow started to furrow. So what does it say? Well you were right, it is from Orochimaru. He apparently wants to meet up, and make amends. He asked us to meet him in Oto in a few days, so that we could talk. Tsunade's eyes widened when she heard this. Do you think we should go? I don't know, Harem. I want to trust him, and make things go back to the way they were. But I just don't know, he's done a lot things that have hurt a lot of people. Tsunade bit her lip as she thought. I think we should go. Tsunade suddenly said surprising Jiraiya. Are you sure, Harem? Yes, we'll see Kakashi tomorrow and ask for permission to travel to Oto. Okay, Harem. Jiraiya said as he kissed Tsunade's forehead. Now you old pervert, you have some unfinished business. Tsunade said with a smile as she gestured to her shoulders. With a sigh, Jiraiya returned to his massage. The next day Jiraiya and Tsunade went to the Hokage Tower right after they ate breakfast. Arriving at the door, Jiraiya gave a few firm knocks. Enter. Kakashi's voice rang out from behind the door. Jiraiya and Tsunade entered the room. But they were surprised to see Shizune and Jugo in there as well. Ah Jiraiya-sama, Tsunade-sama. What can I do for you both? Kakashi asked in a happy tone, but Jiraiya could tell it was forced. We would like to make a request, Kakashi. Tsunade said making Kakashi raise an eyebrow. Oh, and what is your request? Kakashi asked as he leaned back in his chair. We would like permission to travel to Oto for a few days. Jiraiya and I received a letter from Orochimaru, and he wanted us to meet him in Oto. I'm afraid I can't grant that request. Kakashi said as he leaned back forward. What? Why not? Tsunade asked in an upset tone. Tsunade-sama please calm down. Shizune said as she tried to calm her master. It's alright Shizune, they will find out eventually. Kakashi said causing Jiraiya to narrow his eyes. Find out what, Kakashi? Jiraiya asked as he placed both his hands on Kakashi's desk. Kakashi sighed and looked both Tsunade and Jiraiya in the eyes. Oto has been completely destroyed. Kakashi replied in a sad tone. Tsunade gasped, and Jiraiya took a step back. What do you mean it's been destroyed? Jiraiya asked in shock. Jugo here was returning to Oto after a mission. But when he got back he found the village burned to the ground. He searched for hours, but he found no survivors. Jiraiya turned his head to look at Jugo. The ex-Taka member simply nodded to confirm what Kakashi had said. Then what are you doing just sitting around? We need to investigate this. Tsunade suddenly snapped, tears filling her eyes. Don't worry Tsunade-sama, I already had a team sent to Oto. They departed last night, and they should arrive within a few days. Kakashi said, earning a nod from Tsunade, but she still seemed upset. Jiraiya then turned back to Jugo. Do you think Orochimaru could have made it out? Jiraiya asked with a hopeful tone. I'm sorry Jiraiya-sama, but Orochimaru-sama is dead. I found him, along with Kabuto, decapitated among the ruins of a destroyed building. Jugo replied, making Jiraiya lower his gaze to the floor. I see. Jiraiya said as he clenched his fists. Come on Haim. Jiraiya took Tsunade's hand and led her out of Kakashi's office. Will they be alright? Kakashi asked as he turned to Shizune. Tsunade-sama has dealt with the loss of loved ones before, so I think she should be fine in a few days. She'll cry and get drunk, but she'll pull through. Shizune said, but then she sighed. Jiraiya-sama on the other hand likes to destroy things when he's upset. So I suggest you keep everyone out of the training grounds for a few days. Because he will likely be taking his anger out over there. Kakashi sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. I can already see the bill to have the training grounds repaired. 2 days later, Oto ruins. Damn, Jugo wasn't lying when he said this place was completely destroyed. Kiba said as Akamaru and him searched through the village ruins. I know, I haven't found a single clue. Itachi said as he sifted through some rubble. My insects aren't finding anything either. Shino said in a monotone voice. Karen, are you picking up anything? Itachi asked the redhead. Karen was standing in the center of the village with her eyes closed, as she tried to concentrate. But she huffed when she couldn't sense anything. I can't sense anything, it's like no one ever lived here. Whoever did this did an amazing job covering their tracks. Ah, what the fuck? Kiba suddenly exclaimed. What is it, Kiba? Itachi asked as everyone ran over. Kiba suppressed a gag and pointed to a hole in the ground. Itachi looked in the hole, and his own stomach churned. Inside the hole were over 30 mutilated bodies. Many were missing limbs, or were burnt beyond all recognition. Karen gagged before she ran behind a pile of rubble and vomited. Ah, it reeks, Itachi said as he covered his nose. How do you think I feel? My sense of smell is way more powerful than yours. Kiba exclaimed as he too covered his nose. Who do you think could have done this? Shino asked as he gazed at the bodies. I have no idea, but whoever it is a monster. Itachi said as he looked away from the corpses. Come on everyone, we still have a lot of ground to cover. For the next 6 hours the Konoha shinobi searched through the village ruins. But right when Itachi was about to call off the search, Shino called everyone over. What did you find, Shino? Itachi asked as he walked up to the bug user. Look at this body, Shino said as he pointed to a dead Oto shinobi. What about it? Kiba asked in a confused tone. Look at the wound, Shino said as he gestured to the large hole in the mon's chest. All the other bodies we found were either burned or cut up. But this man was impaled through the chest. Shino then pointed to the darkened fabric around hole. And this was caused by a lightning jutsu. You're right, Itachi said with narrowed eyes. Well, this appears to be our only lead, so let's rest up then head back to Konoha. Everyone nodded and started to exit the village. But Itachi turned and gave the body a worried look. Sasuke, I hope this wasn't your doing, Itachi said under his breath. 2 days later, with Naruto's group. Oto has been wiped off the map. Naruto said, making everyone gasp. What do you mean, Naruto? Konan asked in a shocked tone. Jugo arrived in Konoha a few days ago, and he said Oto was completely destroyed. Naruto replied as clenched his fists. Were there any survivors? Sai asked. Naruto shook his head. Jugo said there wasn't any survivors. Then we have to head back there and investigate. Choji exclaimed, everyone quickly agreeing. No, Naruto said, making everyone look at him in shock. Kakashi-sensei already sent a team to investigate, they should be arriving back in the village soon. Suddenly Sakura gasped and covered her mouth, as she fought off tears. Kami, all those patients at the hospital. All those children. Konan said, causing Ryuzetsu and Tenten to tear up as well. Sai simply looked down at the ground with clenched fists. Those people at the trauma center. Ino said as tears fell from her eyes. So what are we going to do now, Naruto? Shisui asked the question that was on everyone's minds. Once we're ready, Kakashi-sensei gave us orders to continue on our mission. So once everyone is ready, we're leaving for Kumogakure. Naruto said as he stood back up. So we're just gonna do nothing about this? Choji asked in an angry tone. There's nothing we can do, Choji. We have absolutely no leads. But I swear to you that if we find out who did this, we will track that person down and make them pay. Naruto said as he looked Choji in the eyes. Choji glared at Naruto for a moment before he nodded. All of Naruto's girls looked at him in shock. They all had the same exact thought. When did Naruto get so mature? Once everyone was packed, the group departed for Kumo. 2 days later, Kumogakure. After 2 days of silent and uneventful travel, Naruto's group arrived in Kumo. It was just past midnight when the group arrived at the village's entrance. Halt. State your names and business. A guard said. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and this is my team. We're here on a mission from the Hokage. I wish to speak with the Raikage, in the morning. Naruto said, making the guard go wide-eyed. Hey, you're the war hero. The guard said with a huge smile. Naruto was caught off guard by this, so he simply scratched the back of his head. It was nothing. Naruto said in embarrassment. Are you kidding? You basically saved the world. The guard exclaimed. He then turned to the other guards. Hey guys, look who it is. Suddenly Naruto was surrounded by almost a dozen shinobi. All of them wanted a chance to meet the hero of the war. After almost 20 minutes, Naruto's group was finally led to an inn near the Raikage's tower. I've alerted the Raikage, and he expects you to be in his office tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. sharp. A blonde-haired Kumo shinobi said. Alright, I'll be there, Naruto said. What's your name? Me, my name is C. The shinobi said. Okay, because I remember seeing you help blind the Jubi. Naruto said, surprising C. You remembered me from that. Of course, Naruto said with a smile. Kinda of a weird question, are there any good bars nearby? C simply raised an eyebrow. 5 minutes later, Naruto was sitting on a bar stool with several empty shot glasses in front of him. But Naruto wasn't even buzzed yet. Stupid fox, making it hard for me to get drunk. Naruto said under his breath. Oi, shut the hell up. I could stop healing you if I want to. Kurama roared from inside Naruto's head. Yeah, whatever. Naruto thought as he downed another shot. Another shot. Came a voice from the other end of the bar. Naruto turned his head. He spotted a blonde-haired woman at the other end of the bar. She also had several shot glasses in front of her. He noticed the Kumo headband tied around her head. Wait, she looks familiar. Naruto thought as he narrowed his eyes. Then it hit him, and his eyes widened. Hey, Yugito! Naruto suddenly exclaimed, making the woman turn her head. Yugito looked at Naruto with blurry vision. Who the hell hiccup are you? Yugito managed to slur out. Great, she's drunk. Naruto thought with a sweat drop. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, I'm the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Naruto said, making Yugito's eyes widen for a moment, before she returned to her drink. Never heard of you. Yugito said as she downed another shot. You don't remember when Matabi? Naruto tried to say, but Yugito suddenly slammed her fist into the bar. Don't you dare mention that cat around me. Yugito yelled, making the entire bar look at her. What the fuck are you all looking at? Everyone quickly turned back around. Naruto sighed and gestured for the bartender to pour them both a drink. Thanks. Yugito muttered as she quickly downed her drink. Naruto followed suit and downed his drink. I'll never understand why Bachan likes this shit. Naruto said as he cringed at the burning sensation. Naruto looked at Yugito, as she rested her head on the bar. You miss her, don't you? Naruto asked suddenly. What are you on about? Yugito asked as she raised her head. Matabi, you miss her. I thought I told you not to mention that name. Yugito growled out. You know I recently spoke with Matabi. Naruto said, making Yugito's eyes widen. What you did? Yugito exclaimed, but she realized her excitement and coughed. I mean you did. She said in a much calmer tone. Yes, I spoke with all the Biju about a month ago. What did she say? Yugito asked, suddenly very nervous. She told me she wishes to be sealed back inside you. Really? Yugito asked, no longer trying to hide her excitement. Yup, all the Biju want to be sealed back inside their Jinchuriki. Naruto said with a grin. I can contact her, and have her here in a few days. She's been waiting for me to inform her of your decision. Well, you can tell her, I want to be her Jinchuriki again, Yugito said with a smile before she slammed her hands onto the bar. This calls for a celebration. The next round is on me. Yugito yelled, earning a cheer from the whole bar. Naruto smiled as he downed his new drink. But Naruto and Yugito never noticed a hooded figure pour something into Naruto's drink. The hooded figure slid the vial into his pocket as he exited the bar. I'll be seeing you soon, Dobi. But first I have to train. With that, the hooded figure disappeared into the night. The next day Naruto woke up with a massive hangover. He groaned as he sat up in his bed. But Naruto was surprised to hear a groan next to him. He turned his head to see Yugito completely naked next to him. But what shocked him the most was the single red band around her right arm. "Aw shit, what the fuck did I do last night?" Naruto thought as he started to panic. Naruto then turned his head to look at the clock, and he nearly fainted when he saw it. The clock read 10:30 a.m. I'm so fucking dead, Naruto thought as he was having full-on panic attack. Inside the Raikage's office, A sat at his desk with a massive tick mark on his forehead. Suddenly A threw his desk out the window. "Uzumaki, you're late," A's roared, his voice could be heard across the entire village. Naruto simply gulped as he felt Yugito stir next to him. I'm so fucked, I'm so fucked, I'm so fucked. These words kept repeating in Naruto's head as he felt Yugito stir next to him. Why am I so sore?" Yugito asked with a yawn, as she stretched. But when Yugito stretched her arms she spotted something that wasn't there before. When the hell did I get a tattoo? Yugito asked herself. She then took time to scan the room she was in. And this isn't my room either. Yugito then turned her head to see Naruto sitting on the bed next to her. She noted that Naruto looked to be in the middle of a full-blown panic attack. But the thing that stuck out to her was that Naruto was completely naked. When she saw this, Yugito was filled with dread. She looked down, and saw that she was completely naked as well. She looked from Naruto, who had noticed that she was now awake, to herself several times, before her face twisted in anger. Seeing Yugito's face contort in fury, Naruto tried to calm her down. "What the fuck did you do to me?" Yugito yelled as her face turned red in anger. Wait, wait. Yugito, please calm down," Naruto frantically pleaded, as he waved his hands defensively. But it was too late, because seconds later Yugito fiercely kicked Naruto. The kick sent him flying across the room into a wall. Within seconds Yugito was on him, her fist reared back to punch him. "Wait, Yugito, please let me explain what happened," Naruto begged as he flinched. Because if there was one thing Naruto feared, it was the wrath of a pissed-off woman. "You have 10 seconds to explain yourself before I rip off your balls and make you choke on them," Yugito said with a glare as she lowered her fist. Naruto gulped at the threat. He knew that she was 100% serious. He took a shaky breath to steady his nerves. "Okay, what is the last thing you remember from last night?" Naruto asked, earning a raised eyebrow from Yugito. "I remember meeting you at the bar, then buying a round of drink for the entire bar. After that it's all a haze," Yugito said as she clutched her aching head. Naruto rubbed the back of his head and chuckled nervously. "Well, you got really drunk. Then you kinda came onto me." Naruto said the last part sheepishly. "What?" Yugito hissed. Suddenly the Kumo kunoichi grabbed Naruto's neck and squeezed lightly. "Start talking." Naruto gulped as he started to recount the events of the previous night. The previous night, the bar was filled with loud laughter, as the alcohol flowed. Yugito and Naruto were the center of attention as they continued to buy rounds for the entire bar. After partying with the rest of the patrons, Naruto eventually made his way back to the bar. He slid onto the bar stool and ordered another shot. "Don't you think you've had enough, kid?" the bartender asked as he poured Naruto's drink. "Hell no," Naruto cheered as he downed the shot. "I'm barely even buzzed yet." It was true, Naruto was slightly tipsy. But he was nowhere near buzzed yet. It was at this time that Yugito broke from the crowd and made her way towards the bar. She sauntered over and took a seat next to Naruto. "Hey buddy," Yugito cheered as she slapped Naruto on the back. "Hey barkeep, get me another shot." Yugito no longer had the near immunity to alcohol that she used to have. She did, however, still have extremely high alcohol tolerance. But Naruto could tell that she was extremely drunk. After Yugito downed her shot, Naruto pushed the glass away from her. I think you've had enough, Naruto said with a smile as he stood up. Come on, I'll walk you home. No, Yugito whined like a child. I wanna drink more, the Kumo Kunoichi said with a goofy grin on her face. Alright, that's enough, Naruto said as he took Yugito's hand and started to drag her out of the bar. Naruto. Yugito whined again as she tried to dig her heels into the ground. The quicker you get to sleep, the quicker you can be reunited with Matabi, Naruto said, causing Yugito to perk up. But when Yugito tried to take a step on her own, she stumbled and nearly fell over. Naruto quickly reached out and caught her. Here, you can lean on me, Naruto said as he supported Yugito as they walked. While they walked, Naruto could feel Yugito's breasts pressing against his side. He blushed slightly at the soft flesh pressing against him. But he quickly shook his head to rid himself of his dirty thoughts. They walked through the village in silence, but Naruto noticed that Yugito kept shooting him glances. Every time she would turn her head away, she would blush. What? Naruto asked as he started to get a little annoyed. You're cute, Yugito said suddenly as she started to giggle. Huh, Naruto said as he stopped walking. I said you're cute, Yugito said as she suddenly pressed Naruto against his wall. Naruto gasped when he felt Yugito suddenly grasp his manhood through his pants. Yugito lemon scene. But what Naruto didn't know that Kurama was trying to communicate with him. Damn it, Gaki, speak to me, Kurama roared from behind his cage. The Kyuubi tried to get Naruto's attention for a few more minutes. But eventually Kurama sighed as he closed his eyes. Why would that little shit suddenly cut off our connection like that? Kurama asked himself as he drifted off to sleep. Back to the present. And that's what happened, Naruto said as Yugito released his neck. Shit, it's all coming back to me now, Yugito said as she clutched her head. Naruto was about to speak, but a few knocks at the door stopped him. Uzumaki, what the fuck are you doing? You're late for your appointment with Raikage-sama, an unknown female voice said from behind the door. If you're not out here in 5 seconds, I'm dragging your ass to see Raikage-sama. Wait, I know that voice, Naruto said as he tried to match the voice to a face. Alright, that's it, I'm coming in, the voice exclaimed as the door was suddenly kicked open. As soon as the door flew open, Naruto knew who it was. He remembered her dark skin, red hair, and gold eyes. He also shivered when he remembered her strong fists, as they beat the shit out of him. Karui's eyes widened at scenes she saw when she entered the room. Yugito, what the fuck are you doing? Karui exclaimed as she quickly covered her eyes. If you give me a few minutes I can get dressed and go see the Raikage, Naruto said weakly as he put on a pair of pants and a shirt. Naruto squeaked when Karui uncovered her eyes to glare at him. What the hell did you do to her? Karui yelled as she stomped over to Naruto and grabbed his collar. I think it's kind of obvious, Naruto said as he gestured towards the scattered clothes. And before you accuse me of anything, it was consensual. You son of a bitch, Karui yelled as she reared her first back. Naruto flinched as he waited for the punch, but it never came. He slowly opened his eyes to see a chain wrapped around Karui's arm. He turned his head to see Tenten holding Karui's fist back. Naruto also noticed that the rest of his girls were there as well. Care to explain to me why you're about to punch my mate? Tenten asked as she glared at Karui. This bastard raped Yugito, Karui growled out as she struggled against the chain. Hey, I told you it was consensual, Naruto said in an irritated tone. Bullshit, Yugito would never sleep with you willingly, Karui growled out. It's true. Everyone turned to Yugito, who had wrapped herself in bed sheets. She was blushing furiously as she sat on the bed. He didn't force me, Karui. I wanted to have sex with him, Yugito said, making Karui's eyes widen. Really, you slept with this guy? Karui asked in a shocked tone. Because you could have done a lot better. Hey, I take offense to that, Naruto exclaimed as he struggled against Karui's strong grip. Like I give a shit, Karui said as she returned to glaring at Naruto. No, you're wrong, Karui. He's a great guy, and I wouldn't mind giving him another go, Yugito purred. Aw damn it, Yugito, that's gross, Karui exclaimed as she pretended to gag. Can you please let Naruto go? Sakura asked as she stepped forward. Fine, Karui said with a snarl as she dropped Naruto. Thanks, girls, Naruto said happily. But he suddenly felt Sakura's fist impact the back of his head. "You baka!" Sakura yelled as she grabbed Naruto's ear. "This is the kind of shit Kakashi-sensei was talking about. You could have caused an international incident with a stunt like this." "I'm sorry Sakura-chan," Naruto said as he lowered his head. "Damn right you are," Sakura said with a sigh. "Now go get cleaned up and go see the raikage." Naruto nodded as he made his way towards the bathroom. But right before he could close the bathroom door, a loud explosion thundered throughout the hotel. "Uzumaki!" An unknown voice roared. Karui looked at Naruto and smirked. "Oh, you're so fucking dead now," Kaori said as she placed a hand on her hip. Naruto gulped when he heard thundering footsteps storming down the hallway. Suddenly the wall near the door exploded, and out of the debris stepped the raikage. Lighting sparked off his frame, as he scanned the room. His eyes fell upon Naruto, who was still standing in the bathroom doorway frozen in place. Then the raikage turned to see Yugito on Naruto's bed. "First you're late to our meeting," he snarled out as his eye twitched in anger. "Then you have the balls to defile one of my kunoichi." "Wait, Raikage Gigi, calm down," Naruto exclaimed as he took a step back. "Silence you insolent brat," he said as he raised his fist. "Let's see you dodge this." The raikage shot forward at a blinding speed, lightning crackling off his extended fist. Naruto tried to channel chakra into his Rinnegan, but he couldn't access his chakra. It was as if all his chakra points had been blocked off. "Why can't I access my chakra?" Naruto thought frantically with only a few feet away. Time seemed to slow down, as A's fist neared Naruto's face. Naruto closed his eyes and waited for the pain, but it never came. He heard everyone in the room gasp, and he dared to open his eyes. What he saw shocked him. In front of him stood Sakura. Her arm extended, stopping the raikage's fist. Chakra flared off Sakura's hand, as the veins in her hand and arm bulged. She was growling slightly as she held back the raikage's strike. But what surprised everyone the most were Sakura's eyes. Instead of their normal bright emerald color, they were now blood red with slits instead of pupils. The mate mark on her arm glowed faintly as Kurama's chakra coursed through her body. "You will not lay a finger on Naruto," Sakura growled out through clenched teeth, revealing that her canines had elongated. "You will go back to your office, and Naruto will explain everything. Then you will conduct your meeting with him like it was scheduled." "You're Tsunade's apprentice, aren't you?" I asked, earning a nod from Sakura. "Only 2 people have ever dodged my fastest punch. That would be Minato Namikaze and Naruto. But no has ever dared to stop my punch before." Suddenly it grinned before he burst out laughing. "Huh, I like this girl, she's got spunk," I said as Sakura let go his fist. "Alright Uzumaki, you're off the hook. Meet me in my office in 15 minutes, and don't be late this time." With that, I walked back through the destroyed wall back towards his office. Naruto let out a breath when I left the room. "Thanks Sakura-chan," Naruto said with a smile. "Don't worry about it Naruto. No threatens to hurt you, not even the raikage," Sakura said with a growl as her eyes turned back to normal. Her mate mark stopped glowing, as Kurama's chakra seeped back into the mark. Sakura suddenly stumbled and fell backwards. Reaching out, Naruto quickly caught her. "Sakura-chan, what's wrong?" Naruto asked, but when he looked down he saw that Sakura was unconscious. "Naruto, what was that?" Temari asked as she crouched next to Naruto. "It was her mate mark. It allows all of you to draw out some of Kurama's chakra. But I guess when your emotions take over you start to change slightly. Kinda like what happens to me. That's probably why her eyes changed and her teeth elongated," Naruto explained as he held Sakura closely. "Will she be okay?" Hinata asked as she checked Sakura's pulse. "She should be fine, she just needs some rest," Naruto said as he handed Sakura to Ino. "Take her and lie her down, she needs to sleep. I need to get ready for my meeting with the raikage. So all of you will need to find something to do while I'm gone." Just then Shisui, Choji, and Sai burst into the room. "What's going on?" "We stepped out for a minute, and then we heard this big explosion," Choji said as he examined the room. "Holy crap, what happened here?" "I'll explain later," Naruto said as he pinched the bridge of his nose. "Sai, you go down to the lobby and get someone to fix the room. Shisui, you try and find Killer B. Choji, please get Karui out of here." "Hi," all 3 responded before they left to do their appointed tasks. Choji grabbed Karui and started to lead her out of the room, much to the girl's displeasure. "Let go of me," Karui yelled as she fought to get out of Choji's grasp. "No way," Naruto said, "to get you out of here, and I intend to follow his order," Choji said as he started to drag Karui down the hall. "Now come on, let's get something to eat, I'm starving." "Why the hell would I eat anywhere with you?" Karui asked as she stopped her struggling. "Have you eaten yet?" Choji asked as he turned to face her. A growling stomach was his only response. "Alright, let's go then, I'm buying." Choji cheered as he started to run out of the hotel. Maybe it won't be so bad. I mean, he is kinda cute," Karui thought as a small smile spread across her face. All of Naruto's girls left the room, leaving just Yugito and him. "Do you regret doing this with me?" Yugito asked as she looked at floor. "Of course not," Naruto said warmly as he lifted Yugito's head. He gently kissed her and rubbed the mark on her arm. "Do you know what this mark means?" Naruto asked as Yugito turned her gaze to the mark. "Yeah, I know what it means. Matabi explained mate marks to me," Yugito said with a sigh. "What's wrong?" Naruto asked, his voice full of concern. "I like you, Naruto, but I don't know if I can just up and leave my village," Yugito said as she closed her eyes. Naruto smiled and kissed Yugito again. "Whatever you decide, I'll support you, and I'll always be with you." Yugito smiled at Naruto and hugged him close. 15 minutes later, Raikage's office. Sat behind the new desk in his office, as Naruto walked in. Naruto quickly apologized for what happened, and explained the situation. "It's alright Uzumaki, it's in the past now. Yugito isn't the type of girl to let men take advantage of her, so I know it was consensual. Now what did you want to speak with me about?" Said as he clasped his hands on the desk. "This mission is the first step of my Hokage training. I'm to travel to each of the shinobi villages with Biju and check up on their current status," Naruto explained as he sat down in a chair in front of A's desk. "By the way, where is Octopops? B is out on a mission right now, and he won't be back for a few days," A explained, earning a frown from Naruto. "Well, I guess I sent Shisui on a pointless task. Well, I hope he finds something else to do," Naruto thought as he smiled at A. "That's fine, now let's continue with this meeting," Naruto said as he pulled out a piece of paper and pencil to write down notes. "Agreed," A said as he leaned back in his chair. After almost 4 hours, A had finished giving Naruto his report on Kumogakure's current status. "Is that all, Naruto?" A asked as he leaned back forward. "Two more things before I go," Naruto said, making A raise an eyebrow. "Okay Uzumaki, speak," A said, his interest piqued. "The Nibi wishes to be sealed back within Yugito," Naruto said, making A's eyes widen. "Why would it want to do that?" A asked as his eyes narrowed. "Matabi told me, she wishes to be closer with Yugito, and to get to know her better. All the Biju feel the same way. I think after they saw how me and Kurama were able to work together, that they wanted to try and be like that with their former Jinchuriki," Naruto said as A rubbed his chin. "Alright, I will arrange for the Nibi to be sealed back within Yugito," A said, earning a smile from Naruto. "Good, I'll contact Matabi immediately and have her make her way here. Now what is the other thing you wanted to tell me?" A asked, making Naruto tense. "It's now or never," Naruto thought as he took a deep breath. "Before I speak, I need you to promise to remain calm and to not overreact," Naruto said, making the Raikage raise an eyebrow. "Alright, now out with it, boy." Taking another deep breath, Naruto locked eyes with the Raikage. "Obito Uchiha is alive," Naruto said, making A's eyes widen. "And he is staying in Konoha right now." "What?" A roared as he slammed his fists into his new desk, smashing it to pieces. "Well, he's taking it better than expected," Naruto thought with a sweat drop. "Why is that man alive, and why is he Konoha?" A exclaimed as he stormed over to Naruto, towering over him. "If you calm down, I'll be happy to explain," Naruto said calmly without flinching under A's glare. A grunted before he pulled up a chair and sat next to Naruto. "I brought Obito back to life." "How did you do that?" A questioned as he tried to keep his cool. "I have the Rinnegan, and I used it to bring him back along with a few others," Naruto explained, causing A's eyes to widen again. "I brought Obito back, because he deserved a second chance. Madara played with Obito's mind after someone close to him was killed. He used the anger and sadness Obito felt to bend his will. Yes, Obito has done horrible things and has killed many people. But I have brought back all those he killed in the war. Obito wasn't his true self during the war, so I feel he deserves a chance to redeem himself. Kakashi-sensei placed a seal on Obito that blocks off his chakra, so he can't use his Sharingan or any jutsu. But we were planning to loosen the seal slightly in a few years with all the other villages' permission. Obito is also forbidden from being a shinobi, but he is a part of Konoha's new police force. So I ask you to please just give him a chance. I will watch over him, and I will make sure he stays out of trouble. Naruto exclaimed as rubbed his chin. Closed his eyes and thought for a few tense moments. He suddenly sighed and opened his eyes. You know I trust you way too much, Uzumaki, said with a chuckle. Alright, I will allow this. But if I catch wind that Obito is doing anything wrong, I won't hesitate to have him killed. Arigato, Naruto said with a smile as he bowed slightly. Is that all? Now? I asked as he stood up. Hi, Naruto said as he too stood up. I will arrange for the Nibi to be sealed within Yugito. The ceremony should be ready in a few days. Said as he held out his hand to Naruto. Again, arigato and thanks for being so understanding. Naruto said with a smile as he shook A's hand. Don't mention it. I respected your father Naruto, and I respect you as well. You're both good men. Said as he gave Naruto a rare smile. Hey, this is kinda weird, but do you wanna get something to eat? Naruto asked suddenly. A thought for a moment before he nodded. Yeah, that would be nice. Sweet. I saw a ramen stand when we first arrived. Naruto said as he ran out of the office, with a slowly walking behind him. He's so much like his mother. Said with a chuckle as he shook his head. 2 days later, Naruto had contacted Matabi, and told her the good news. The Nibi was overjoyed and quickly made her towards Kumo. Most of Kumo's population was shocked when Matabi showed up at the village gates asking for entrance. Naruto burst out laughing when he arrived at the village gates. He spotted several Kumo shinobi cowering in fear of the Nibi, who was sitting calmly as she waited to be let in. It's all right everyone, she means no harm. Naruto said as he pushed through the crowd. Hello Matabi. Hello Naruto-kun, Matabi said with a smile. Where is Yugito? If you'll follow me I'll lead you right to her. Naruto said as he gestured for everyone to clear a path. Naruto led Matabi through the village, earning wide-eyed stares from the civilian population. After about 5 minutes, Naruto stopped in front of a temple near the back of the village. He pushed open the large wooden doors, and gestured for Matabi to step inside. Yugito is right inside, and I bet she's excited to see you again. Naruto said with a smile. Thank you Naruto-kun, Matabi said as she walked into the large room. The Nibi quickly spotted Yugito sitting on an altar surrounded by candles. The Raikage stood with the sealing team off to the side. Hello Yugito, Matabi said with a warm smile. Matabi, Yugito exclaimed as she ran up to the Biju. Yugito wrapped her arms around the Biju's leg, the Nibi's flaming skin not burning her. I missed you, Yugito cried into Matabi's leg. Well, we can be one again soon, Matabi said in a soothing voice. It was then that Matabi spotted the mate mark on Yugito's arm. Someone's been busy, the Nibi said in a teasing tone. Yugito blushed beet red and turned back towards the altar. Let's just get this sealing over with, Yugito said as she laid down on the altar. Of course, Matabi said as she sat next to the altar. Alright, let's get this thing started, said as the sealing team moved in to seal the Biju back within its Jinchuriki. Naruto waited outside the doors for over 3 hours. He was just starting to nod off when the doors opened. When he turned his head, he saw it carrying an unconscious Yugito. Is she alright? Naruto asked as he walked over. She'll be fine, said as he handed Yugito over to Naruto. Take her back to your room, she needs to rest. With that the Raikage walked back towards his office. Naruto smiled and held Yugito close as he walked back to his room. The next day, Naruto's group stood at the entrance to Kumo, as they prepared to leave. Several people had come to see them off, including Yugito, Karui, Omoi, and the Raikage. Are you sure you can't come with us? Naruto asked in a sad tone. I'm sorry Naruto, but I have a duty to this village. I can't just abandon it, Yugito said with a sad smile, but she kissed Naruto and placed his hand over her mate mark. But this mark means, you will always be special. To me. I will never forget you Naruto. Yugito was surprised when she saw Naruto pull out a three-pronged kunai. Here, take this, Naruto said as he handed Yugito the kunai. What's this? Yugito asked as she examined the oddly shaped kunai. That kunai has a special seal on it. It uses my father's special Hiraishin jutsu. If you ever need me, or if you ever want to see me, just pump a little chakra into the seal, and I'll be by your side in a second. Naruto said with a smile. Thank you, Naruto. Yugito said as she clutched the kunai to her heart. Is everyone ready to go? Naruto asked, earning a nod from everyone. Wait. Naruto turned to see Karui stepping forward. What do you want? Naruto grumbled out. I wasn't talking to you, asswipe. Karui yelled as she walked towards the group. Everyone went wide-eyed when Karui walked up and kissed Choji on the cheek. Come back to see me sometime, Karui said with a wink. Sure, Choji stuttered out as his face turned bright red. Naruto coughed into his hand, getting everyone's attention. If that's all, we'll be leaving, Naruto said as he started to lead the group out of Kumo. Oh, and Yugito, stay safe. I will, Yugito said as she waved towards the group. Goodbye, Naruto. Once the group was a good distance from Kumo, Naruto slapped Choji on the back. Hey man, nice catch, Naruto said with a smile. She may be a little rough around the edges, but she sure is a looker. Thanks, Choji said as his face turned red again. So Naruto, where are we heading to next? Sakura asked as she walked next to Naruto. We heading to Otogakure next, but before we head there we need to make one quick detour, Naruto said, earning a raised eyebrow from Sakura. Where are we going? Sakura asked in confusion. Naruto grinned as he rubbed the back of his head. We heading to Oni no Kuni, Naruto said, making Sakura's eyes widen. I do have a promise to keep after all. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day.